What's up, you stupid idiots? Welcome. What's up, stupid idiots?
What up, you
Football
bozos?
heads. Um, what's up? We're coming in. We're chatting all things football today. We're gonna talk general stuff. We're gonna talk some Homer stuff. We're gonna talk some fantasy stuff, and we're gonna talk some PFF All-22 stuff as well. What's up, Matt?
What's going on, Ange? How we doing?
Maddie Beggs. What is it? What's her? It's fun. Do you know Maddie Betts? He's like a big name in the fantasy community, and your
I
name's
have not heard of him. I'll
encroaching.
have to give him a Google after this.
Yeah, he's
But
encroaching on your brand.
I was gonna say the guy already stole my name before I even got started. But that's all right.
What an ass. All right. General check-in here. We were talking about it before we hit this record. Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely. The number one story in the NFL right now, in my opinion, and I think in a lot of people's opinions. Yeah, kind of what we were just before we hit the record, the fire take that I kind of have is if I was a Cleveland Browns fan, I would have been mad at that Judge Robinson giving him 6 games.
Yeah.
Because I think that the NFL wants its pound of flesh here. And so I think that if you just got the year August 1st, you could then accept it, go with Jacoby Brissett, know what you have the year, obviously hope Jacoby Brissett's it. And then you can trade him off to somewhere else and, get a pick and have Watson and all of that. But now it being in limbo, the fear is that he's on the exempt list for a whole year. And as I was saying before, that he wins round 1 in Cleveland with whatever judge that the NFLPA would take it to if they were to appeal it once Goodell comes down with a year suspension.
Yeah.
And then I think that judge would win for Watson and rule in their favor. But that traditionally happens, as it did in the Tom Brady case, where they did the appeals in Boston. And imagine that the Boston judge sided with Tom Brady.
Oh, imagine that. Yeah.
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 And so from there, though, then the NFL always takes it to home court, which is New York. And traditionally, New York being a blue state, they do not interfere with labor negotiations. You're not going to, if the NFLPA and the NFL, fair or foul, as us as fans, they decided that they're going to have this third arbiter. And then if the NFL doesn't like what the arbiter says, they're going to appeal it and give you what they want. And so because that was agreed upon, unless there's something out there that says otherwise and the NFLPA can provide that evidence, he's going to get whatever suspension the NFL gives him. So now, as it go down a rabbit hole of 2 years, 1 year, that'll be where it's interesting.
Yeah. Yep. And you were talking about the implications too for Browns fans of just like, what is the best case scenario for them? Like, do you want that 6-game suspension? Do you
Right.
want him to appeal it? Maybe not play this year, then play the whole season next year.
Right.
My initial thoughts on that are like, it's NFL, it's not for long. And if you have a strong roster this year, then like
Yeah.
they
You want the
they add
6,
Clowney
absolutely.
back, they have it, and you
Yeah.
don't know. Literally
Right.
next week they could lose 4 of their key players.
Absolutely.
Hunt's on his way out. I think
Yeah.
Felton has something there, so I think they're going to be okay. But
Right.
you never know. Their whole entire roster could have a facelift by accident by this
Yeah.
time next year. So it's ready
Absolutely.
right now,
Yes. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. Yeah. As evidence from last year with Mayfield being injured and that they still were on the cusp of the playoffs with that roster.
And
It's
that's Mayfield.
right.
All he
It's a
had to do
quarterback.
was hand the ball off.
Right. It's a quarterback away team for
Yeah.
sure. And he's elite.
Yeah. What if you lose Chubb?
Right.
And then you lose Chubb
Right.
game 4, and then you get
Yeah.
Watson back game 6. What 6?
6.
What
And
are
it,
you doing
right.
now?
Yeah. Or your offense is another year older if you lose Watson for a year, and Myles Garrett's
Exactly.
another year older. I mean, yes, it's another year of him into his prime, but it's another year wasted.
Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I see Myles Garrett only getting better, but then
Oh,
at the same
absolutely.
time, you don't know where the holes are gonna come from.
Right.
You can't anticipate that kind of stuff. So yeah, so you're a Browns fan. You're putting on your Browns fan hat. What are you hoping for?
You're hoping that, obviously, I think you hope that this arbiter comes back and says 6, just like the first lady said, because then it's now the NFL's got egg on its face 2 times over because it's 2 different arbiters ruled the same.
Yep.
And then now the NFL is going to look bad, and really either divide the fan base or just piss the fan base off because the other side of this too is every one of our teams is a Deshaun Watson story away, as awful as that sounds.
Yeah.
But, and it's the unfortunate side of
It is what it
You know,
is. I
it
mean,
is what it
yeah,
is. But, yeah, you can call it what it is. But, I already, as a Cowboys fan, Zeke already had a slight run in a few years back, and we already had this drama. And I remember that year being a massive distraction and it coming off of their rookie. I believe it was the rookie year that they had such a great year. So it's
yeah,
not only is it not, productive as winning, but it's also not fun as a fan. You're just watching constant stories and people's opinions of negative things about your team.
yeah.
So you just want it to go away. So I think if you're a Browns fan, you either want 6 or you want a year, and for Watson and the NFLPA to say we're not going to appeal it and to just take the medicine and let's be done with this in August so that we can just focus on football in September.
Now, there's also a chance I've heard the other possibility that he appeals the whole thing and plays this year, right? And
Right.
and it's because of law, like you were saying with New York. So
Right.
so that happens, and
Yeah.
then as someone who's like, okay, obviously they found enough wrong that they said he's mandated to use team
Yeah. Yep.
massage.
Uh-huh.
And the thing that cracks me up about that is look at Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
Wasn't
Yeah.
I'm sorry,
Right.
but we're basically saying no, we know he's a predator. We'll just have him be a predator to NFL
Right.
employees.
One specific person. That's we're
Yeah,
gonna
we'll have
sacrifice them for the greater good of everyone else.
literally this is the exact thing that Antonio Brown did. And
Right.
so then you get you turnover within, and then there's like labor
Yep.
laws within the NFL. And it's so funny the NFL is like, let's take this off our plate. We'll outsource it to someone else. They'll make the decision. Then we'll
It's
do the charade of taking it back on our plate because that wasn't enough for our opinion. So like, it's just like it's such a charade. It's such a, like a PR.
it's a league that makes money by accident. The people that run it, they
Yeah.
they make billions by accident. I've never seen anything like it. Because you should just have a streamlined process to figure this out, and to take it or leave it on the other side of it. And that's the other part is because now in the future, why do I care what Judge Robinson ever has to say about any of my players when they're coming down with any suspension? Like this
Yeah.
future one with Alvin Kamara, what does Judge Robinson matter? Because if the NFL isn't satisfied with her version of justice, they're just going to appeal it and get their pound of flesh.
Right.
And so
Yeah.
and then it's a no one wins when it's done like this. That's the thing, is that everyone wants it, and so it's tough.
Yeah. He should have
But
just like
yeah,
slightly
right.
deflated a couple of balls, and then he would just get his 4 games
4 games and then be done.
take
I
a
know.
little bit of air out of a ball. No.
Yeah, there you go. And that's that.
Potentially assault 23 women.
Right.
It's and it is also, there's legal implications of it, like
100%.
he's not being convicted of anything. So
Yep.
it's just awkward because there's
Right.
no,
Yeah. And
it's
then the
all
other,
allegedly. It's all allegedly.
absolutely. Right. And then the other part with Watson that also, if I'm a Browns fan, it wouldn't matter to me, but then would be a hope is they wanted money too. They wanted fines and other things the NFL wanted from Watson.
Yep.
So again, if you're going to tell me he's getting 6 games and he loses $10 million or whatever, then fine by me. It's not my money. So,
Right.
I'd rather more fines than obviously Watson wouldn't, but I would if I'm a Browns fan. And then I
Because
think
they
again,
guaranteed him all that money anyway. So and you're like, I don't care. That was the frustrating thing, I think, for a lot of people, was like,
to see this guy get rewarded for even an alleged behavior.
yeah. And then it's like, well, he essentially was suspended last year. No, the fuck he wasn't. He was not
Yeah.
suspended last
Right. No,
year.
that doesn't.
Like,
No.
come
Yeah.
on, guys.
No, he could
He was
have played.
suspended from the NFL last year the same way I was suspended from the NFL last year.
Yeah.
Which is that I'm not good enough to play in the NFL.
Right. Absolutely.
He is good
right.
enough, but he chose not to.
And then moving on from Watson, the next kind of general NFL that I've had kind of in my brain is quarterbacks, obviously, because I think they run the show. But more specifically to that is this rookie class and this year 2 class. Obviously, the rookies improving themselves, but actually we could put the rookies. It's more the year 2. This year 2 and these crop of 5 guys and the pressure being on with them all being first rounders.
Yep.
And I think a lot of them are having between pressure, if you're looking at Trey Lance to just start and keep his job, same with Zach Wilson. And then whereas on the flip side, I think it's pressure for paydays for Lawrence and Jones and the fifth one is Fields, excuse me.
Yeah.
Um,
He's the oh man, I'm
right.
still such I stand him. I do. I think Fields has it.
Yeah.
Did you hear that the Browns did not run scramble drills last year? I mean, the Bears didn't run any scramble drills last year.
That's 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 mind-boggling to me.
Disgusting. That
Yep.
means this dude was being told you are not to run the ball, even though you blatantly have that skill set. We're not even
Yeah,
going to let you
that's
practice it, which means all the scrambling he did was just on his instinct. So he's taking that leap into the NFL. He's doing all that, everything he did literally without being
right.
gameplay to his skill set. Like,
Yeah, not
so I
being
believe in
utilized
him. I
correctly.
really do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know. Yep, the guy was a leader and successful in Ohio State. He showed flashes to me in Chicago. I think the guys behind him believe in him, so that's
Yeah.
always a sign to me. Is it didn't look like that. You know what I mean? It's one of those where you get sacked, the teammates right there to pick him up. Kind of little stuff you watch on the field. They
Yeah.
believe in him too. So then, yeah, I believe in him absolutely. I think also the game evolving into his skill set. And he's gonna, like you said, is now
Yeah.
gonna get a coach that can do read options, RPOs, get this guy familiar with things that he's familiar with and put him in spots where he
Yeah.
can be successful. I totally agree. But here, I got something for you with Mac Jones. This is
Okay.
what's interesting to me with him going into next year is I think about the contract, and that's the pressure for him next year.
Oof.
And well, just so hear me
Yeah.
out. Kyler Murray gets 5 years, $230 million extension in year 3.
Hmm.
Okay. This is Kyle Murray's stat line, just super quick 3,700 passing yards, 3,787, 24 touchdowns, 10 picks. Okay. Mac Jones, 38, 3,801, 22 touchdowns, 13 picks. If Mac Jones repeats that for the next 2 years, that's 5 years for $250 million
Yeah.
extension. I mean, as far as the going rate is concerned, because this is a Kyler Murray that's done those numbers, but has no playoff wins, had a
Mhm.
playoff disaster. And
Oh man, it was
so, you know
bad.
what I mean?
Yeah.
It's right now, I got Mac Jones somewhere around 15th in my fantasy / world ranking of quarterbacks.
Yep.
You can kind of intermingle them somewhere in there between,
Yeah.
if you believe in him more than Kirk Cousins, he's 14. If you're a real Patriot crazy, he's 13 to you because you think you don't believe in Derek Carr. But outside of that,
Yep.
he's not, he's not better than
That's exact.
Aaron
My comp
Rodgers
is
or
Derek Carr,
Brady.
but he's Derek Carr with good. You know what it is he's Derek Carr with with a backfield.
Yeah,
So because he's got and they're gonna run it in, so he's not gonna throw for that's why he doesn't have the ceiling. But
right.
neither does
But
Derek Carr. Derek Carr doesn't throw touchdowns.
right. But if you get me a 25-10 touchdown ratio with about 4,000 yards, that's a successful quarterback in the
Yeah,
NFL.
I
And
agree.
that's apparently the going rate right now is 46 million one for a successful quarterback. I mean, again, look at Dak. I mean,
Yep.
Dak, I think, had more bloated numbers, but that had to do with his offense being more pass heavy. So, but again, look at what the
Yeah.
numbers of a contract Dak got, and that in a couple of years, I think you'll be saying to yourself, Mac Jones is pretty much Dak Prescott in some way, shape, or form. That
See,
they're both elite and that they may not be Tom Brady elite, but they're good. I don't want to
yeah.
use the word elite because I don't want to get killed, but I mean, both above average. Both guys are above average.
Yeah, no, I believe in Dak.
So, and
I
so I think it's
yeah.
the pressure is a payday here for him. And same with Fields and Lawrence, especially Lawrence. What if Lawrence succeeds and gets a similar numbers to Murray with the hype around him? That screams for 5 years, 300, right?
Yeah, and he's another one where the coaching staff killed him. I mean, the guys,
Absolutely.
I would hate to
It's
be a highly
yeah,
ranked quarterback coming into the draft because
yeah.
you got it.
I'm
You
high
got
on
it.
Trevor Lawrence this year.
Are you?
It's
All
out of the
right.
5. I think he is going to do the best. I think
Okay.
that I don't believe in Jacksonville, but I believe in Doug Peterson and coaching quarterbacks.
Okay.
And I believe that Lawrence
That
can
tracks.
basically do whatever you ask of him. So now if I'm giving him an offensive genius, he can do offensively brilliant things.
All
And
right.
so yeah. And so I think about Carson Wentz's second year before he tore the ACL. That's
Yeah.
what I think Trevor Lawrence is going to be this year. I really
Okay.
do. I think it's going to be that 35-10 type of year. It just, they go up and down the field. Now, again, I think they
Yeah.
lose some games 35-40 and they're not going to get
Yeah.
there, but
Made
I
some
think
made some improvements on the defense and the coaching staff. Just even their
right,
defense last year was actually
pretty
if you
decent.
play
Yeah,
IDP like I do, the Jacksonville defense is so rosterable because their
yeah,
offense struggled so bad. So that's, if you're an IDP
yep,
player, you're thinking to yourself, can I get pieces on the team? Can I get pieces of the Chicago Bears defense? That's what you're
yes,
thinking, right? And
yeah,
to go back to Fields really quick, number one, all of his weapons just keep dropping and he doesn't have any. So it's
nope,
like it's literally like if he came to the fight with a stick and a slingshot, and both of those sticks and slingshots broke, and everyone else has like guns, and he's just like, I don't
yeah,
know, I guess I'll run around and throw it to Cole Kmet.
right. Yeah,
Um,
and the wall that they have to protect him is made of paper.
literally,
So that's the other
literally.
part. So
Who's
it's
who's the tackle they're trying to trade away who was actually good, but I
um
don't know, maybe he just like farted in the room with the wrong coach, and now
I
he's
right.
like, it's
Yeah, and
something
then they
stupid happened, and now they're
right.
like, yeah, he's all right, but we don't really want him anymore.
And then this morning, their linebacker Roquan Smith requested a trade because he's not happy with the contract extensions. So
Oh
that's
my
another. Yep,
God.
that's an interesting little tidbit that for some of you is live. Yeah, he wants out right now because he's not had. He's saying that they're not negotiating in good faith. That he.
Jesus.
Yeah, so that's not a good look, especially yeah, your 25-year-old stud linebacker wants out. So
Yeesh.
it's
So
there's
who's
worries
gonna
with all of that, but
who's set up? So of the year two quarterbacks, it's Zach Wilson that's set up to fail, right? Like that's everything around him improved, and like I think there's so much optimism with like the actual skill set and decision making for Mac Jones, for Trevor Lawrence. Justin Fields, I think, is really yet to be seen as far as like his ability as a passer. But then it's Zach Wilson. Like,
right, he's definitely I think ranked fifth on almost everyone's board out of the five. I don't think the kid is it. I think he's been more distraction than he's been positive as of now.
yeah,
But I do think that
he's
it
like,
is certainly going to be in a spot here with Flacco behind him and this roster, even with their right tackle going down. This roster is built to at least look better than it has the last 3 years. This is a roster that's
yeah,
built to win 6 to 8 games if the quarterback is not incompetent. So if
yeah,
he's an idiot right out of the gate, they're going to go to Flacco and be 6-11 and okay with that. And,
yeah.
then look to find their quarterback somewhere else because there's weapons there. There's a line there. Elijah Moore's good enough. Corey Davis is good enough. They
Yep.
picked up 2 tight ends to help them as safety blankets. They drafted a top 10 receiver. They drafted a running back in Bryce Hall, who's very good. They put a lot of
Mm.
things around Zach Wilson to eliminate the excuses.
Yep.
That's the thing I look at with the 5 quarterbacks is like not to call them excuses, but like what you're saying is what are the factors they have to overcome,
Yep.
or what is the team's done to make them not have factors to overcome. Like who's
Yeah.
made it the friendliest for their quarterbacks, and
Salah. It's got to be.
I agree.
Well, and then
Yeah,
Shanahan. I mean, it's Shanahan.
right. Yes. Yep. You're right. I'm sorry. Yeah. Shanahan should be one there because of just his offensive mind and the 49er roster. It went to an NFC title game, and now here comes Trey Lance.
Because yeah, but Shanahan. So like, I guess with him, he had the least to change as a coach. There was, I
Yeah.
mean, literally, Fields and Lawrence are in completely new situations, basically.
Yeah.
And so
New
then
coaching staffs. Yep.
Shanahan, it's like, man, you cannot deny that dude's.
Offense.
I
Absolutely.
mean, and it's
Offensively, the proof
just
is in the
yeah,
pudding. And it also shows you where the league is trending in that it's offensively because not to disrespect the Niners, but they would both honestly, outside of the Super Bowl year, they had it. But
yeah,
2 years ago, where they kind of sputtered at the late and missed the playoffs. And then last year, they teetered all year long. And then they just got it together at the right time in the playoffs and showed you that his offensive thinking and game planning of that running, zone running, and dump offs to Debo just is at times just too tough to beat.
man. I mean, if Trey
So
Lance can literally
be
just
it.
be
Yeah.
like can you like their offense was already so hard to stop with what it
Right.
did, and then you add a legitimate rushing quarterback. It's like all he has to do is not be stupid.
Yep.
Like all he has to do is not make dumb decisions. Like I feel like with Mac Jones, it's 100% rests on his decision making ability because he
Yes.
can't just like scramble out. He has to be consistently like for like it's anything within the Patriots system of like just don't make mistakes. But with Trey Lance, it's like
He's right.
literally just don't suck at throwing,
Right.
and you're gonna be okay.
Yep. 1 second. I'm just trying to pull up if I can. Here we go. So here was Jimmy G last year. 3,800, 20 and 12. So can Trey Lance give you something similar, but maybe it looks like 33 to 34 with 300 to 400 yards rushing?
Yeah, I think so.
Could
Why
I
not?
think why not? That's the absolutely. And that's where
And you have Kittle back.
right. And this is where I talk about the pressure of contract to being able to playing. Trey Lance isn't playing for a contract. He's 21 years old. He's essentially there on a 5-year deal. They've told you he's their guy.
Yep.
But at the same time, that's where the pressure is. He's the guy there. Whereas, in New York, you can make the argument at a moment's notice they're going to switch to something else outside of Zach Wilson. Even New England, obviously, I know you're a Mac Jones believer, and so am I. But let's say the thing goes south and he goes really bad this year because of the coaching staff. But then he just never gets it back and loses his juju. He could be, whereas Lawrence and Fields, I think, are more. It's just, I think Lance is out of the 5. Lance is for sure the one that is under the most pressure to succeed out of the gate.
I agree. Yeah, because I could see if the Bears are really stripping everything down
then
they just trade Fields. It's
right.
And he'll go somewhere else and be great.
Right.
Lawrence isn't going anywhere.
Or it's built in that if they, the Bears suck as an organization, the Jets suck as an organization. Everybody blames Bill for losing Tom. So those are, and then Jaguars suck as an organization. So those are 4 built-in excuses for those 4 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
That, obviously if they don't get it done, we're all going to say that. But there's at least something there, whereas there's nothing there for Trey Lance.
It's such a good point. He's under the most pressure. He's got everything. He's got weapons. He's got consistency at coaching. He's got
right. And especially the longer Jimmy Garoppolo is still on that team. Because I think about it. What happens if week 1 Jimmy's still on that team and Trey Lance throws an interception? Where is that camera panning to? Not Trey Lance. It's going to pan right to Jimmy Garoppolo's beautiful face.
I mean, people love looking at that guy.
Jimmy Garoppolo, Super Bowl appearance and last year's NFC title game appearance. And 49ers fans will be throwing remotes at the TV.
Yeah. And he looks like the guy from John Tucker Must Die. So I just imagine Trey Lance, like Jimmy Garoppolo must die.
Absolutely. Yes, that's perfect. Yep. So then I guess continuing on with QBs also too is the QBs with new teams. Wilson with Denver, I think is very intriguing.
Man, last year I named one of my teams, my Megla Bowl team. I want to be starting Sutton.
There you go.
And then he's just like it was not his fault, but I'm so excited for Sutton this year. Oh my God, I can't wait. The dude has it.
To put a fantasy spin back to it, it's all Denver weapons are open for business. All of Denver's offense is open for business. I think they got an offensive-minded coach from Green Bay. He stems from the LaFleur-McVay tree. So it's all going to be all that similar stuff we see, a zone run-in, hard play actions, Judy, Sutton. I can't even name the tight end, but go ahead and draft him.
Albert Abuerkan.
Sounds good to me.
Albert Abuerkan.
He's going to be a waiver wire top of the heap by week 3.
Yeah. Was their third KJ Hamler. Lost him Patrick, ripped to like 7 of my best ball teams, but it's okay.
Yep.
KJ Hamler's in there.
Yeah.
Get him.
And they also got good line play. I think then they re-signed the Bulls kid at left tackle. So again, that all-22 spin to it. They got a good left tackle there.
Oh, that's good.
They got some good offensive line. I forgot to write it down. So other QBs that went. So there was obviously Watson, and then Mayfield to Carolina.
We didn't talk about? Freaking Davis Mills. He's the other one.
That's right. Excuse me. You're right. I was just doing the first round, but he's
not a first round. That's true.
You're right. But I will say this about Davis Mills, super quick. He's in a non-pressure situation, but I think he's going to find flashes of success, especially with Lovie Smith. I think Houston is going to have a better year than obviously. I mean, anything but up from last year.
You gonna take the over on Houston this year?
If it's 4.5, I would take it. I think they're going to go
Okay.
5-12. But that's
I
about
like
it.
that. I like
Don't
that.
have them. Don't have more than 7, 5 or 6 games. I think there's going to be a few times where they're going to surprise a few people.
Yeah, they're gonna beat the Titans at least once. That's my
Yeah, that
that's my
always
bold
it's
prediction.
right.
Yeah.
Somebody, them or Indy, they'll sneak up on either Indy or Tennessee once at
Yeah.
home.
They almost got us last year. They almost got the
Yeah,
Patriots.
that was
Pissed me off.
yeah. That coach forgot how to coach during the second half, and that just did that in. There's a
Man.
4th down he went for last year that I still was like, what are you doing?
Man.
But yeah. So then the next one being Baker Mayfield. I think it's, again, I don't know what to make of the NFC South right now, other than it being Tampa Bay's division after that and
Okay.
Atlanta sucking. So then the other two, I don't know what to make. I think Carolina could be in that 6th or 7th range for a playoff spot. They could also be 7-10
Yeah.
and ready to make a ton of moves. And then
You
same with
putting
New Orleans. So
Garoppolo, are you putting in Seattle or in Atlanta?
if I was a team that wanted to trade for him, I would probably be, I would. If I was a team that wanted to trade for him, I'd be the Giants. And if I was Jimmy
Whoa.
Garoppolo and I wanted to go to a team, it would be the Giants. And as a Cowboys fan, it's the last thing I hope for. If I was Jimmy G, I'd either go to Pittsburgh or the Giants, because I think those are the two
Pittsburgh.
places where he could succeed right away. I think that even if Daniel Jones is finding success, he's going to run his helmet into someone else's helmet and be out. And then you
Dude,
can take
this
the
guy,
job from him.
he reminds me of those things that are outside of car dealerships. They're like,
Yep. Yeah, he's just a wacky inflatable arm man just running around. And so, and don't get me wrong, sometimes it looks, when it was done right that first rookie year, you're like, oh, maybe this kid can play.
Yeah.
And he showed flashes in that Dallas game last year until he just decided to take a keeper and just run right into a linebacker's head. And so I think between that and him struggling, and then Jimmy having previous time, I believe, with Brian Daboll, because he was a part of that Patriots staff. And the Giants, again, I think are a team that roster-wise could do some things if they have the quarterback not messing it up for him.
Jimmy G.
And then also
Jimmy
it's New
G to
York,
the
baby.
Giants. Man,
It's New
Jimmy
York,
G to
baby.
the
You can
Giants.
see that beautiful, strong-chinned man successful for the Giants. Oh, he'd be on the back cover every week doing, you know what I mean?
Yep,
Absolutely.
I do.
So there, and then obviously the other one, Pittsburgh, and that I don't believe in either quarterback there in Trubisky or Pickett, and their defense is Super Bowl caliber.
Their coaching staff.
And their coaching staff is Super Bowl caliber.
Holy
It's
shit.
won
And
it
then they
before.
added
He's
Flores.
Right. He's won it before. He's never had below a 500 year. They would have, winning like mentality in Pittsburgh with a quarterback that's ready to win now in Jimmy G. Again, I don't understand the Jimmy G hate. I also don't understand the full on Jimmy G love.
Yeah. Could he go to Houston?
I don't think, yes, he could. I don't think I would want to if I was him. If I'm him, I would want to go back up somewhere where I think eventually I could take the guy's job and then still have enough time to then lead that team to a Super Bowl and then have that team give me an extension and I ride off in the sunset with that team. That's what I think his mindset is. I don't think it's to go to a Houston or an Atlanta and try and rebuild it with them, because I think he's got like 3 to 4 years left. So I think it would be to try and go on a team that he thinks is a quarterback away and that he could beat that quarterback in a competition in some way.
Yeah. I feel like Atlanta's ready to drop some money. They were going to drop some money for Watson. So
that's true too. So maybe, right.
Yeah.
You do. Yeah. You take a chance there. You be successful with Pitts and company.
Yeah.
And they throw you a bag. You know what? Yeah. You're not wrong in Atlanta. The more you say it and the more I think
Seattle's not going to pay him.
No, I don't. I see Seattle tanking the ever living crap out of this thing without telling us they're tanking it.
Oh, yeah.
They want to live and die with.
They told us they were tanking it the second. They were like, yeah, we'll take Drew Lock.
Right.
What are you doing?
The moment Drew Lock and Geno Smith are competing for a starting job, you've told us all. You might as well just say the word CJ Stroud and Bryce Young are competing for the starting job of next year for us by playing in college football.
Beathard too. Put Henny on that thing.
Yeah, you go. Like, give me a break.
You know what? Traded for Jacoby Brissett, and then they
Yeah,
send Garoppolo over to the Dolphins to back up
there,
two.
there you go. Well,
So,
yeah, the Miami's another good spot for Jimmy G, because that's a
oh God,
former
yeah,
coach of his.
yep.
So that also, and then obviously all the obvious weapons, and he'd be two picks away from taking his spot.
What did I say? It is Brissett over there. Who's the
No, it's Tua, and then no,
who's?
because Brissett's in Cleveland. I couldn't tell you who Miami's backup is right now.
Oh my God, it's Jimmy G.
Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be next week. We've just
Ah,
figured it out. Someone get him on the horn.
someone could give him a call. Hey, by the way, Jimmy, you're on the Dolphins now. He's like, welcome to Miami, baby.
Made it.
I'm Jimmy G.
Dwayne Wade is getting you off the boat.
Hey, listen, I got 25 minutes to make a pick here in All-22. Do you want to talk through this with me real quick?
Absolutely. What position are you looking at?
Let me share my screen and let's take a peek. Now, this is one annoying thing is because Deshaun Watson is the highest rated available player.
You got to keep
Anytime I
looking at him.
refresh, it's
Yep.
just
There's
his
his
face,
ugly mug.
and it's just annoying as shit.
Gotcha.
All right, so this has been fun. I've actually been kind of chronicling, and I've got updates for. I started putting up on YouTube, just like talking through what's going down. This is my first All-22 draft ever. I'm still
Yep.
kind of getting used to the scoring and everything, and
Absolutely.
I set up a strategy, so I'll just kind of show you. I'm
Yeah.
pretty redonkulous in the brain. My brain is a
No,
supercomputer.
there you go.
So I kind of thought I would draft it like this based on positional weighting. I obviously going to take a quarterback. I figured quarterbacks would fly,
Yep.
and I figured if quarterbacks fly, then we'll have some top edge dudes, and they're the next highest rated position. So I'll take a QB1, I'll take my edge one, then I'll come back around and grab my QB2. Now, what ended up happening is, um, uh, quarterbacks did go, but
Yep.
then basically right around. So I took Mac as my one because PFF wise, this is the
Yep.
youth you want, right?
Yep.
And then you see we had Miles Garrett also go. Then we had TJ Watt, which I didn't
Yep.
understand. Aaron Donald, which great grade wise, but the positional weighting is only
Hurts you. Yep.
so what are you doing? Right.
And
But
you
then
wouldn't be able to, and Donald wouldn't get an edge notification for you maybe in the middle of the year or something like that. Like that
see,
person
I
isn't
don't.
playing.
That's kind of where
Yeah.
same with like Micah Parsons, who also went
Right.
pretty early. I'm like, if he changes to edge, it's a good pick, but he's listed as a linebacker right now, so that
Right.
is a
So it
huge
does.
percent.
Right.
But then you kind of see these top rated other positions going,
Yep.
right? And so it kind of messed me up because, and then Trey Lance, which I completely disagree with, and I got into it with someone about because I'm just like, look at his grade. This is not regular fantasy.
Right.
Like, bad
Yeah.
choice.
Right. Oh, couldn't agree more. It's yeah, that early? No way.
So
I don't
then,
even know if I'd want Lance as my QB2 in this league.
exactly, like I'm not
And
drafting
it's
Lance.
right. No offense to Lance. In a traditional league, I think you should look at Trey Lance, but not in an all-22.
Okay, cool. Thank you for. So then, no quarter. I take Jones. Someone takes Rogers. That makes it. No, not another quarterback besides Lance goes. So Brady falls back to me. So I'm like, I'm out. He is player
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. No,
So
that's a
now I have
good.
Mac and Brady. Duh.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
And
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 now
still quarterbacks didn't go. Like really didn't go to the point where and I'll show you what I ended up doing. I was trying to create a run because all the other top positions were going and my quarterback was all set. So in round 6, I picked up Dak Prescott because he's sitting there.
there you go. And now you can either move him to another person who's going to get desperate for a quarterback, or you can
Yep.
just keep playing the matchups all day long with those three guys
Right?
because you
Okay.
get to
See,
start two, right?
thank
So
you.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh no, you only start one. That's the
Oh,
thing.
okay.
So it
So yeah,
is a little, but it is a
but
piece.
you play the matchups.
Mhm.
You're gonna get Dak against a bad team for a week, and vice versa with Tom and Mac.
Plus,
Mac's
this is
gonna
probably
have to play
Tom's
the
last year, and we don't. And
yeah.
Mac does have some unknowns, so I felt okay. Plus, he's sitting
Yep.
here in round 6. I'm like, I
Yep.
would be stupid not to take him.
Yep. I like Devontae there at 3. I like
Nice.
Lawrence and Miller. I really hope Lawrence can get a full year under him for
Me
once.
too. I know.
You
Miller, I
know.
felt weird about age-wise, but he got a 6-year contract. So what am I gonna do? Not take him?
Yeah, I mean it's a yeah. I mean they dressed that thing up, but it's a 3-year deal. But still, he's got
Okay.
about 3 years left. It's yeah, he still has. Again, it'll be situationally, but the situations, he'll be effective.
Okay. See, I didn't look too close into it. I just knew it had the 6. So see, I wish I talked to you earlier, honestly.
No, it's all I don't mind the Von Miller pick there.
Okay. Just
He's going to
poured
be part
coffee
of it.
all over my shirt.
I'm
Nice.
sorry.
Bakhtiari, no one had drafted still, and I think
Yep.
he's tackle 1. So
Yes.
it's just because he was injured. He didn't play very many snaps last year.
Right. So yeah, the hope is and thought is he has a bounce back.
I
And I think he will.
took my youth here. Graded pretty high in his first year. Why not?
Yeah.
And I got Adams, so whatever.
There you go.
Then I
Like
just took some.
yeah.
Yeah. So
Right.
he was suspended, but anytime he played, he crushed.
There you go.
So the Campbell, I thought I felt good about.
Yeah, I love Lane Johnson.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
like
Cool. Yeah.
Gilmore. I like
Gilmore.
Gilmore on that Indy defense.
Me too. And then took DJ Reed because he's gonna have Sauce Gardner across from him. So guess who's gonna be racking up the
Yes, he'll get a lot of
you know
opportunities to be the second and a lot of safety help.
yeah. And then I grabbed McKinney last, so now I'm on the clock again. And kind of where I'm at is I have quarterback all set. I could take my wide receiver 3, but looking at
Ooh, excuse me.
did I
Yeah.
take a second corner already? Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so that's all set. Um, I could take a safety, a guard. I don't have a running back, tight end, or a center yet. I'm waiting on center because it's just
Yep.
so.
Low.
And then my wide receiver 3 and other positions, like I just don't think I need to reach for them. There's enough
Gotcha.
options. But Mike Williams is sitting there. I was really considering taking Brandon Sheriff here. He's a really highly rated guard, and I
Mm-hmm.
need a second guard, but also Ted Karras is sitting here as well.
So yeah, either if you believe guard, I would go Sheriff. And then if we don't want to go guard, I would also say safety there with Adrian Phillips.
Okay.
Because
The
I
reason
really
do you think there's too much of a significant statistical difference between Phillips and Hyde where like
I don't think so.
so
I think Adrian Phillips is gonna be I think what you got out of Adrian Phillips last year is what you're gonna get, but that's not a bad thing. And that he's Bill's guy in the box safety.
okay, so kind of just to talk this out with you here,
Mhm.
I think that these two dudes are so and let's really
Interchangeable.
yeah, that like if
Yep.
they're both sitting there, I feel like pretty good that one of them might fall back to me.
Fair enough. So then then take either one of the guards that you like.
Although, man, let's look at Micah Hyde's number, like just statistic, like year after year of high grades.
I know
It's so tempting to take
he
him.
I he's one of those ones that I always thought Dallas he got away from Dallas. Especially a 5th round guy too. He was one of those made chicken salad out of chicken shit.
And then we see, less so for Phillips, but
I know, but it was if you see that jump from 2 years ago to last year, and that was I think Bill finally getting him in the right role and figuring it. Like
yeah.
out of the last 3 years, he's figured it out.
I mean,
It's
look at these grades. Yeah. All right. And then let's look at these guards real quick and see if one of them is, statistically like if it makes sense here.
right.
Um
So
they've
you're at guard/safety.
maybe maybe those guards are kind of more interchangeable to where it doesn't make
Yeah,
sense to take one.
I guess. Yeah, you're right because
Because
it's
I
a
have
lot lower.
Kappa
Yep.
already. So I'm not gonna take Karras anyway, actually, now that I
No,
think
and
about that.
I didn't like the Karras pick. I was going to talk you away from Karras. However,
Okay.
we went down that. I don't think I like him as I guess a person, but I imagine he's a nice guy. I don't know why I said that. I have no idea. I've never met Ted Karras in my life. He just seems like a wholesome man who does nice things. But no, I'm not a Fed. He's a backup center forever with New England.
Okay.
you know,
All right.
I like Duggar, but sometimes Duggar has his issues in the passing game.
So I would imagine Sheriff will still be there. I think people are gonna overlook him. So
Yep.
maybe
So
let's see. Hyde or Phillips? What are we thinking?
ah,
They're so close. It's so and then the other thing is I could
right, and then
grab
easily
somebody else, but just looking
right,
at
or
what
that yeah, because the Mike Williams is still tempting, like
it's so
at
tempting, but
at wide receiver 3, but
because he could also be my two if Amon Ra doesn't work out.
oh, you're right. So I actually would take Mike Williams there.
So okay,
Is
I've been kicking around taking him for the past like 12 rounds, and then he's just still here. And it's like now I should just do it, right?
yeah, I think you should only because it's kind of a flyer on the other kid. So if the other kid, you know what I mean? So if the other
Yep.
kid does pan out, holy wide receiver death, Batman. But if he doesn't, we can just plug, you know what I mean? Then your lineup looks good telling everyone Devontae Adams and Mike Williams are my two wideouts.
Yeah. And just looking at who else is available.
And then what is after this pick? When is your next? How many spots do we go?
All right, let's see. So we go. So I'm picks. I think it's
Yeah.
11. I keep counting and then I keep forgetting. 1, 2, 3,
Okay.
4, 5,
6.
7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so
13
12.
or 12, right?
So do you think
So
one of these safeties might
gets
be
to
there
them.
still? Like
Well, with 50,
how many
I was
safeties
gonna.
have gone?
There you go.
Let's do okay, all defense. 1, 2, and then
3,
that's me. 3, 4, 5, 6,
7, 8.
9, 10, 11,
Yes,
12.
one. Yes, if we're already at
Oh yeah, 13. Yeah.
yeah, and you don't really need a safety too on your thing, right? If I were to look back at that other tab for a
I
second,
think
I don't think
oh,
the value.
I start two safeties. So I already have
All
I
right,
grabbed the youth. I grabbed
right.
McKinney.
All right. So I mean, so they may go, but even then, who would be third behind them? If we want to look at all safeties again, just to do our due diligence here. So Phillips.
Eric Rowe is
Well, yeah,
probably who I
they,
take.
right there, or McCourty. I don't. I think at the worst, Rowe and McCourty come to us, and
Jimmy
if it,
Ward.
yeah, again, Jimmy Ward grades out good.
I
Xavier.
love Taylor Rapp.
So,
Yeah.
so I
Okay.
think we've kind of talked ourselves into the Mike Williams pick here, and I think that's the right one.
All right, let's do it. And then we'll come back around. We'll grab guard two and safety two.
Yeah, or safety two, guard two, however,
Oh yeah, safety
or
two guy.
right.
So
Yeah, but
let's trash cares. I
yep,
think because I feel good. I also feel good about this dude.
yep, being there.
Um, other than
Second,
age here, he does grade well.
and he is on a team that's going to help him grade well in Baltimore. They're going to run the ball, and
And then we want some youth. We can always grab Ezra.
yeah, always trust a guard named Ezra,
Always.
especially from Boise State.
And I still so for I have Rob Havenstein is sitting here and I
Yeah,
have my two tackles, but it is like
a solid depth piece because he's
yeah,
going to go to left, and he's going to be a strong impact on the game in a good way.
right? Bakhtiari and Lane
And he can be
Johnson.
right, and he can be Bakhtiari insurance too,
Right.
which is never
So
too bad.
and just look so I'm glad that we're kind of on the same page because looking at like these percentages, I'm like I should probably grab my third edge before I grab like my center or tight end,
Yes,
right?
yeah, because you start how many
Um,
edges?
You
Two,
start two, and
but
there
still,
is
yep,
no scheme that you can start three, but there is a
gotcha,
scheme where you can start three DIs, three linebackers, or three corners.
gotcha. So we look to see if maybe there's not. They don't. But see what I do like about this, although I wish it wasn't like this. They do a good job at not having guys have multiple tags on them.
Yeah, you
like
have to choose. Yeah.
right, like not having a guy have an edge and a linebacker tag on him, which yeah, because if you could do that, then those guys would be going off the board right away. So yeah, I'm with you though. I do agree. At least I'm looking at yeah, edge 3 will definitely need to be looked at when we
Okay.
come back around.
So my only thing is like I have to start
That
at least one guard, one more safety, one running back, one. So I have to get a
those
good
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pieces.
yes. And
Okay,
then
I
I can
okay.
start to like
Look at the depth. All right.
yeah,
Then yeah, I definitely agree. Guard or safety back next time around,
yeah.
and then look at edge
Okay, cool.
when
And
we
I love
yeah,
this call of like, let's just see if one of these two dudes fall back, and then if not, I'll grab a
yep,
guard, and then we'll figure out something else as safety.
absolutely.
Just the way this board, I mean, isn't this just wild the way even in the chat, like it's way up there now, but everyone's like, why? They're like, my other all-22 drafts, it was quarterbacks for 2 to 3 rounds straight.
Yeah, I
Like
would take nothing. I'd have my first 2 picks be quarterbacks.
it's and then it's like all these top tier guys from
Yeah.
other positions are going, and
Or
I'm
yeah,
pretty sure Kirk Cousins didn't even go until
that's
like
ridiculous.
Tannehill went in round 3.
Yeah,
Wilson went
I would.
after Tannehill.
I'd be taking Herbert or whomever you believe in as a top, whatever the top quarterback is, and then either the top edge rusher or the next top quarterback after them.
Yeah, look at Lamar going 5th overall.
That's yeah.
Come on, man.
Mm-hmm.
I got no argument with him on Twitter about it. He thinks his PFF grades are gonna jump up this year. I was like, look at this.
Yeah, they're trending in the wrong direction.
And then the argument being this was a reach. Okay,
Gotcha. And you
sure.
argue, wait, with Lamar himself, like the official Twitter handle?
No, no,
No, well, what? Gotcha.
with
So
this
okay,
this
person,
commissioner.
I got you.
Yeah, yeah. On
Yeah,
Twitter.
I could. It's.
Yeah.
I mean, if Mac Jones repeats the year he had last year and they win 10 games, I'm not going to full blown say he's better than Lamar, but I think he definitely goes into the Lamar group, right? I mean, Lamar separates himself from that MVP, but I think that MVP was given to him through his running ability.
And
Like, you know what I mean? He had such a good year throwing that then got combined with such a good year of running that it led to the MVP. When the throwing in and of itself, like if he didn't run and he just thrown that year, I don't know if it's an MVP year.
yeah, and the other thing being like fantasy wise, he's always going to be better than Mac Jones. No one, but this
Right.
is different. This is
Absolutely.
PFF grade. So like
Right.
that's
It's
kind of
not
where Mac Jones isn't
absolutely
going to win an MVP. Like
no,
no, Lamar
but he's
Jackson could
gonna
win an MVP and still score less points than him on this platform.
yeah, because it's
Yeah.
about making the right read and it's much more objectified. It's a lot
Yeah.
more things being broken down of Lamar's game than A needs to be. I'm with you in the real world, but for our fantasy, yes, I agree that if
Yeah.
you I couldn't agree more with you. If you're going by the PFF grades,
Let's
Mac
look
should
at
be
Hurts
trending
like
in the
right, and you're gonna take Lamar over Hurts just given what I think the youth and I think I'm a Hurts believer.
right.
I took him everywhere last year and I didn't
Yep.
regret it.
Yeah.
And
No,
look how he
he's
did. Like I
yes.
knew
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Like it's like
Again, yeah. In a fit
watch
for
this kid
fantasy
play.
specifically, Jalen Hurts should be your first quarterback off the board if you are thinking about quarterback in just about every platform, even the traditional ones. Outside of his health concern, there isn't another concern for specifically fantasy. He
Yep.
does it all for you fantasy wise.
And you
He
can
makes
get
the
him
right
in
decisions. He runs, he throws, he gets down the field and scores. It
like literally like him grading out at an 80, and we see even Matt Ryan only at a 74. It's like,
yeah.
and
He,
Matt Ryan's been
it's
doing this forever.
right. It's
Granted,
what's so intriguing about Jalen Hurts is that he's one of the first ones to be seen of that athletic group that also seems to have the brain behind making the reads.
yeah.
It was a lot of times in the past with your mobile quarterbacks. If my number one option wasn't there, I'm going to tuck it and go. And obviously Lamar's improved with that, but he still at times does it. But Jalen surveys the whole field if he's throwing and then runs.
Yeah. It's just yeah. God, but man, never in my life seen a more fun to watch dude when it comes to
Yeah.
playing. Besides
Yeah.
maybe Aaron Donald, who I could watch all day, but
Oh, the Lamar. Yeah.
Lamar, Aaron.
Yep. And then Vic back in 04. As far as watching, that was for a quarterback and just pure athletic ability and all that jazz.
All right, so glad we got to talk through that pick. That was super fun.
Yeah.
What else do we want to hit on today?
So you want to do a little couple Patriot notes?
All I really got is so much hype for Tyquan Thornton, man. Like, holy shit. They just won't stop. And when we were there, we went and we watched a
Yeah.
practice and we saw Nelson Aguilar in a
Yep.
way we've never seen Nelson Aguilar. I
Yeah.
mean, the dude was beasting.
Yep.
And
Yeah. My biggest thing is Mac Jones progression.
yeah,
What is it? What does it look like? How much does he? Because that's where we live and die here.
yeah.
You know, and then so what I'm intrigued about, because there's been a ton of reports out of camp that the offense does not look good. But the most recent reports have been that 7-on-7, they look good. It's then when we get the actual offensive lineman in that things go awry.
Mm-hmm.
So that leads me to believe that this coming Thursday, it's going to look a little ugly against the Giants, because they're also saying it's a mix between scheme and guys just getting flat out beat.
Yeah.
So with those two things being of note, Bill's going to see it. And what I love about Bill is he finds that perfect balance between letting a young guy learn and get the experience he needs, but then also being like, all right, you haven't met these benchmarks that I got, so I got to move on to a vet. And so I think after the Giants game, you're going to see a free agent guard come in, and I think you're going to see a free agent swing tackle come in at the line in the offensive line. And then from there, you're going to see it look a little better than it being the disastrous that it'll look week 1 against the Giants. So then for me, what is that once Bill gets the pieces, puts the Band-Aids on this thing, then what does it look like? That's what I'm more intrigued about with New England's offense, is I think they're going to be able to do some things once the scheme works out. And I trust the scheme because the scheme's been around forever. It's Shanahan's zone read West Coast offense. And I think that they're, using similar terminology to the McDaniels and Brady years.
Yeah.
I think that it's not all new as people want to make it out to be. I think there's still concepts from the old offense, but obviously they're doing the new offense. So it's hiccups and it's also bad play from the offensive line. So I think once he puts the Band-Aids on the line, then what does it look like?
And I'm like, maybe our D line is that good.
That too.
Right.
Right. Is Gotcha and the other kid out and Barmore as far as the 2 D tackles, 100%. And that Bill's going to get a 4-3 front out there that, you just can't get by. That's very true. And
I know Wynn is great. I'm worried about Cole Strange, even from what we saw in person, but then also from all the other reports where it's like, oh, but I love that take of it's the O-line. It needs some Band-Aids, and Bill needs to see where the Band-Aids need to go, and then we got to go get them. I bet he's already got
100%
shit brewing.
Yep. Yeah. And also too with Bill, he's smart in that he's also waiting for there's going to be a team out there that drafted a guard that played better than expectations. So then they're going to cut a veteran guard. We got to wait for some shoes to drop here to then have pieces. And it's the same with Dallas and their wide receiver depth, which we can get into Dallas.
Yeah, let's look at. This is the Homer report.
There's going to be the Homer report.
So, here's the Homer report.
Exactly.
Right. It's funny because we're both. I'm a huge Patriots fan. You're a Cowboys fan. Those are the two. They've dropped a bar graph. The two highest grossing franchises in all of sports. In terms of football. But also in terms of they're in the top 10 of all sports, which is crazy.
Yeah, they're they move the needle.
Yeah, Cowboys number 1.
You guys do it with winning. We do it with just pretending like we're gonna win.
You do it with being absolutely fucking insane for some reason.
That's,
Like,
we wouldn't have it any other way.
it's being batshit.
It's so
Yeah.
much fun. Just, so yeah, we'll have a rockin' September and then it'll all come crashing. But that's getting ahead of us. But no, my concern with Dallas is the wide receiver depth. I mean, it has to be if anybody's been watching this team.
Oh
I mean,
yeah.
it's CD Lamb and then it's 6 feet of crap. I can't even name the guys right now after him. And it's like
Oh,
TJ Vasher.
don't
Yeah, your
forget
boy
about
Jalen.
Jalen.
I will not forget about Jalen Tolbert. Excuse me. I know the GOAT. I don't even, yeah. College says USA. I don't even know where the man was drafted. He was drafted in America. That's all we know. Oh my gosh.
It
So
just
again,
says
they gotta,
college USA.
yeah, yeah. So they need a few shoes to drop and
Yeah.
hope for maybe a veteran wideout that no one saw coming gets cut or
Yeah.
something of the like. But I also think that their plan is to do a lot of personnel sets with 2 tight ends. They're going to want to run the ball. They're going to want to get back to it being Zeke and Pollard in some fashion and run the football and do some hard, heavy play actions with Dalton Schultz
Hmm.
and CD Lamb, because that's the only 4 options they have.
Jeremy Sprinkle, huh? Anybody?
Yeah, God, I don't know. Sure. Not gonna, right. I mean, it's, but then I guess to get to the positive side, I think Dak Prescott is going to have a great year. I think that he's coming off the ankle injury. I think
Yep.
that if he is the guy you thought he was pre-ankle injury, then that's what he's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be 40 touchdowns and 15 picks in some capacity. And, if he can do that with a makeshift offensive team, then I think they got a shot because that means they're built around the defense. I'm excited about the front seven. I am so excited about the Dallas front seven.
Yeah.
I think that Parsons and Lawrence and Cox and Van Der Esch and now the signing of Anthony Barr. If we could get Anthony Barr to be who he was on first and second downs at a limited capacity, and then it allows Parsons to be the freak that he is, then I really think that front seven could cause a ton of problems for people.
He's on the they signed him on the Cowboys?
Yep.
No way.
Yeah, 1
PFF
year.
catch up, man.
I know, a little slow.
When this happened?
About a week ago. Yeah,
Oh
he's already
geez.
been at camp and all of it. So yeah, someone needs to hit refresh over there.
Yeah, let me do a hard refresh actually and see if it does it.
There you go. And then I think the other big storylines for Dallas is obviously Zeke. What does he look like this year with him essentially being a contract year, because next year all of his guarantee money is gone and they could cut him, and also the expectations is that but Cowboys fans are looking for 17 weeks out of Zeke, not just 12.
Oh my God, what are you talking about?
I
You
know,
guys don't
I
like
know,
having 12
I
weeks of
know.
Zeke?
It's so much fun telling people he leads the league in rushing after 10 weeks and then does nothing for the final 7.
12
So
weeks
yeah,
of Zeke. Yeah,
yeah,
it's
exactly. Right up until Christmas, and then I got my presents and I'm done.
But you know what? Hearing you talk about this, it's bringing up this. And I thought I was overdrafting Pollard, and now I'm like, no, because there's like no way that Pollard isn't
Factored
utilized
in.
as a pass catcher in
Yep.
and like, I mean, literally to the point where he could be a slot receiver. You
Absolutely,
know?
especially now with this depth. Yes,
Yeah.
there's going to be a ton of times where you're going to see Lamb, Pollard, Schultz, and another wideout, and then Zeke in the backfield, and then that's their formation, and that because they don't trust TJ Vasher and Tolbert and company.
If we feed Zeke, what do we do? What do we do for Pollard? We poke him. We poke the
Yeah,
hey,
yep,
feed Zeke, poke Pollard. You know what I'm
Zeke
saying,
or
you
poach
guys?
him. Yeah, we poach him.
Poach, poach. That sounds horrible.
No, we don't want to do that.
It's a dangerous
Sorry,
game.
Tony. Yeah. And then another headline for Dallas is obviously Mike McCarthy, and at the moment you sign your contract as a head coach in Dallas, you're instantly on the hot seat unless you win a Super Bowl. Especially too with Sean Payton looming out there, retired and
Retired. Yeah.
right, and then also your defensive coordinator, having been on a team that went to a Super Bowl and is turning this defense around in Dan Quinn.
Yeah.
So, and also Mike McCarthy at times looking like a fat idiot. It just,
Just really.
yeah.
I
It's
mean,
weird. I think about like since Parcells left, it's just been a bunch of yes men idiots that Jerry Jones has hired. But I feel like Mike McCarthy is the smartest idiot out of the group. So like that's the only thing that I'm
yeah,
like that's what I'm holding my hat on with him is like, well, he's not smart, but he's not like Jason Garrett dumb.
yeah, yeah.
That's all I can basically hang my hat on right now with him.
Well, and that's Jerry Jones type because he
Yeah,
needs someone that
right,
Jerry Jones can go and say, "Hey, we're gonna play Zeke more." And Mike
right.
McCarthy and Jason Garrett are going, "Yeah, we
Yep,
that's actually not that good of an idea."
right. But we'll do it because you said so.
Sure,
Right.
because you're Jerry Jones and
Yeah.
you own the most profitable franchise in literally all of sports.
Right. And Mike McCarthy probably feels involved in the draft process and they go, sure, Mike, this is your pick here in the fourth. And then you know what I mean?
And he takes Jalen Tolbert.
That's right. That's his guy. So,
But yeah,
so
when
yeah,
did they take him? I think it was the
I thought it
third
was the fourth I think it was the third. Yeah, third.
third
Yeah.
round, 88.
But
Okay.
so, so that's going to be intriguing, especially if they get off to a slow start playing Cincinnati and Tampa. Let's say they're 0-2
Yeah.
to start the gate and the offense looks bad.
Yeah.
You're going to be looking squarely at Mike McCarthy.
And this dude here, Tyler Smith, their first round pick, I
Yep.
think I'm gonna target as some tackle depth for me,
Yes, but then also keep on your radar with him that I think he plans on being played at guard.
Ah, boo. Okay.
So yeah, wait for that watch the first couple of preseasons. And
Okay.
if
Good call.
yeah, because it's either, I think the plan is left guard for him, but they
Yeah.
may also give him some reps at right tackle if they want to see it there, or left if Tyron Smith is hurting.
So
So
when I
definitely a late round guy for all 22 purposes to have on your radar because he's a big athletic guy who
yeah.
can do some things and has the potential to be a tackle again with McCourty. I'm sorry, with Tyler Smith. Tyrone Smith potentially getting up
I'm
there
not
next.
helping you putting up a spreadsheet of literally
Devin
every
McCourty in every
person's
single
name in the entire I didn't so when I did my rankings, I didn't rank out any rookies
yeah,
because I thought we were going to do separate drafts because it's a
gotcha.
53 man roster that you're drafting. So it's
Yeah,
53 rounds. And I thought, oh, I don't know, maybe we'll do I don't know. I guess I thought we would do it separate. So now that I know that it's you do everyone at once, it kind of changes things.
yeah,
It changes the way players are rated. And I don't think I have a single rookie yet. Um,
gotcha. Which
you know,
I'm not a big fan of rookies either in fantasy, even in the traditional world. I'm not a big fan of them because it's just the unknown.
yeah, it's
It's
so hard.
it's yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Who did I grab last year a bunch? I got some Chase in one of my like main home
yeah,
leagues.
right.
Um,
And it's you look like a genius when you go get Jamar Chase with your 8th overall pick, but like, what if he wasn't it? And
yeah.
then it's for every Jamar Chase, I've also had my Trent Richardsons that were just
Oh, N'Keal Harris.
yeah,
Yeah.
right. How many N'Keal Harris went in round one his rookie year?
Jeez.
And
Well,
well,
people,
yeah,
I mean, yeah, taking a rookie round one, I think is
right.
like is
But
way too rich. But fourth,
yeah,
fifth round,
right. But
who am I
yeah, and
taking
even
this
then,
year? Fourth, fifth round. Even some of the running backs. I'm not drafting James Cook. I
no,
know he's a pass catching back on the Buffalo Bills. I don't care.
no,
He's a
yeah,
running back
that's
on the Buffalo
right.
Bills.
Right. It's not, yeah, the production ain't there. Yeah, I'm with you. Like Bryce Hall for the Jets, I like him, and I think there's a future there, but I don't like it rookie year.
Yeah,
Some of the wideouts I do like, but yeah, sticking to the Homer hour though.
yeah,
I love so that it was all the coaching staff too of so bleeding me talking about McCarthy. I wanted to then get back to the Patriots and their coaching staff,
sure.
and that's been interesting.
There you
I
go.
mean, this is what Bill wants. So this is so interesting because this is what Bill, I think, envisioned when he was like a 30-year-old man laying at night thinking about his NFL dreams. Was that like he's like, I'm gonna be the head coach and I'm just gonna have everyone else coach under me, and I'm not going to name them anything.
Nope.
It's not going to be coordinators. They're just everyone's under me, and I'm just this overlord who runs it all.
Yeah, shithead 1, shithead 2.
Right, and you just kiss,
like
and you all just kiss the ring.
Yeah.
I'm getting dramatic with it, but that, this is what he wants with this whole not naming coordinators thing. And boy, oh boy, again, he'll look like a genius, and it'll be another chapter in his book if he's right. But man, oh man, it's not going to look pretty media-wise this year if he's wrong.
Yeah.
If they are 6-11 with this whole everybody, nobody has a assigned job. We're all just trying to make the Patriots better, rah-rah stuff. It can fall on deaf ears without a Tom Brady there real fast.
Yep. Yeah.
And that, these kind of moves are the ones that make bottoms fall out on teams, because it causes your players to sit at their locker and go, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Dude, dissent and doubt are
killers.
Plagues. They're plagues in the locker room.
Absolute killers.
I think people, it sounds like, and I watched the been watching interviews, of course. Got to meet Matt Judon with you the other day. That shit was looking fire. But I watched the one with Jacoby Myers, and just speaking to like Mac Jones' leadership, and like it seems like everyone is super on board with him, and like he actually, because he's so goofy, he has that switch. I think his personality actually reminds me of ours, where it's like, goofy until it's time to flip the switch, and then it's like,
get to it.
I'm a dog, like like I don't care.
Absolutely.
Don't fuck with me, like I know what I need to do. I'm here to do what I'm supposed to do. You do what you're supposed to do too. Like, I'm not gonna be rude, or like, I feel like Aaron Rodgers has a literal mean streak, which is, he and Tom Brady, like, they're tough dudes to work with.
Right. You gotta have that dog in you
up here, right?
Yeah.
And Mac Jones, I feel like he has that like type of leadership where he has a relationship with everybody, doesn't care about your draft capital.
Absolutely.
Like, you know what I mean?
Everyone has a name, it's not a number.
Yep. And he fell into the best.
Absolutely.
So
outside of San Francisco, couldn't go anywhere better.
Outside of where?
San Francisco.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Would be number 2. But I agree. New England 1, San Francisco 2.
Yeah, do I agree with that? New England 1, San Francisco 2?
I mean, maybe San Fran 1, because of if you believe in Shanahan.
I think last year it would San Francisco 1, New England 2, and now no, I think I still think that. I think I would rather. I think I would prefer San Francisco's roster. I love Ayuk though. I'm a huge Ayuk fan.
Yeah, and I think Mac Jones would have went and took it from Jimmy G last year, whereas Trey didn't. Nothing against Trey, and that, again, I'm not trying to slam Trey for his future, but at least as far as last year went, if Mac Jones did what he did in the preseason for New England for San Fran wouldn't have thought twice about it, and they would have went right away with him, and off they went.
I think Shanahan had been scheming and planning and prepping to get a rushing quarterback, and he was like, I'm getting a rushing quarterback. Yeah. And he was like, once I have this rushing quarterback, oh man, our offense is going to be unstoppable. Mac Jones, as good as you are, you're not it for me. So I just don't think they ever would have taken him,
Right. I mean, I heard, there was stories of that Shanahan wanted Mac and the organization wanted Lance. I don't really buy into those stories, because I think it's very convenient that you know what I mean? If Mac Jones turns into John Elway, all 4 of those coaches are going to come to some reporter and say, well, I wanted to draft Mac Jones, but my organization told me to go with Justin Fields. Like, how convenient for you. Yeah. Like, Chip Kelly back in the day when he was with San Francisco told everybody how he wanted to draft Dak Prescott, but you waited 4 rounds to do it, buddy. So of course you did. Like,
literally 4 rounds.
It's all the same with Tom too. It's we miss on guys. It's the way the NFL works. Yeah. If we all had a crystal ball, then by all means, I hope they get it right. But if it's outside of the first round, I really try not to blame my teams, and that it was just this guy had a chip on his shoulder that was just so big that he overcame all the obstacles of us not drafting him.
He's a GOAT.
Right. And that's what Tom did. And exactly. And that's what all these other guys are similar stuff. So, but again, to go back to it, I worry, full circle of the whole coaching thing. I worry about a defensive coordinator switching over to offense. And that, people inside that building make it sound like, yeah, well, if you know football and you know how to motivate men high in a high level way, you could do it at either spot of the ball. And I just don't buy that. I don't believe that a guy who's done defense forever,
Yeah.
then all of a sudden can switch over to offense and understand concepts and understand audibles and understand the language and understand the signs and everything and be able to just seamlessly transition like that. I just don't believe it. And then same on, if it were to be on the flip side, I don't think that Josh McDaniels could go run a defense. He wouldn't be able to figure out, yes, he could maybe know what the offense is doing, but he wouldn't be able to do the language properly to tell a defender where to be and how to be there and what to do, because it's not his side of the ball. It's just, and that the thought of, a coach could do either side of the ball. Yeah, you're probably right in 1985 and before. In 1970, yes, I bet you your offensive coordinator could also be your defensive coordinator because everyone was using one of two playbooks. Now there are playbooks out there that have 400 pages.
Yeah.
Some of these guys' note cards on their wrist are so small, but they pack in 100 plays. It's youth. And you mean to tell me Patricia's just going to seamlessly transition over to the offensive side like that? I can't believe that.
Yeah.
It's just,
it's awkward too. It's awkward for everyone.
Right. And it goes back to too, like we were saying, of the dissent and doubt and the accountability ladder. Bill, I have this issue with the offense. Who do I go talk to? I don't know. Whereas it would be go talk to the offensive coordinator. And then it's okay. Well, it's talk to the offensive coordinator. Now you're a wideout, so now go to your wide receivers coach. There's no ladder to go up to or go down to.
I do, with like Bill's like knowledge of, it's like no one knows the game as well as he does,
Right.
but it's also like specifically the version of the game he knows everyone else is already innovating on, and it worries me. Like, sure, like he'll have. That's why I love this platform specifically as a Patriots fan, like using PFF grades because all the basics, all the technical stuff, all the the things that do go into good football, Patriots players can do. But at the same time, can we innovate enough to like win offensively? I'm not talking about defensively. I think let's see what happens this year because last year was a little bit of a shit show. But
secondary's a little worrisome still. I like the front seven though.
Yeah, we got who do we got? Jalen Mills as our cornerback one, but I think other teams and coaches like figuring out, okay, yeah, Billsman has this one way of looking at things. Like, to what extent is he going to innovate this year, or to what extent is he going to stay the same? Like, that's really intimidating, but it's scary
intriguing.
It's scary as a fan because you're like, if he doesn't change anything and he keeps doing the same things, like, and they already got us figured out. You've been doing this for years,
right? And it's also too, I think, I've been thinking about this over the last 2 years since Tom left. I think a lot of teams play New England differently now and coach differently. And they don't have the boogeyman staring at them across the sideline in number 12 anymore. So, you know what I mean? Like, you always used to look back on that 20-year run and be like, oh, well, you remember watching that game and being like, yeah, I remember this play when that stupid team would go for it on their own 45 and they didn't get it. And then Tom went down and scored and took them up 17 and the game was over by half kind of thing.
Yeah.
Those things don't happen now because the team's looking at it going, yeah, we're down 7 here, but Tom's not there. So we can punt here and try and you know what I mean? I think there's more chess being played against Bill instead of checkers now because teams are not as afraid of Tom not being there. And that's no knock on Mac. I think Mac's going to come into his own and eventually cause teams to, play differently and adjust to him, but it's not there yet. So that's the other fork in the road that I think you need the coaching staff to circumvent that issue. You need to have an offensive-minded guy that's on board with your scheme to get everybody's maximum ability out of them because you need it right now. Tom got it out of everybody, but since Tom's not here, and Mac is year 2, I think you need a coordinator that can do that. And I don't think Patricia and Judge can do that in the spots they are in.
Just thinking about those two
Yeah.
specifically
Oh,
and how funny it is, it's just
yeah.
like, oh my God.
Watching Judge on the sidelines was an absolute treat. I mean, you want to talk about just a raw meat eating football head that just, just
Yeah,
it, just I don't think about nothing but go, and it's all those stupid cliche answers every time he gets in front of a microphone. Oh,
yep,
well, we're gonna work harder today. And okay, thanks.
yep, sure, yes.
We're building to what we're trying to get to. Thank you. That's,
Hey,
obviously.
we're building to what we're trying to get to.
Right. Like tell me something I don't know. Like
Hmm.
so
I
um
love all Bill's answers all the time.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's how
Bill's a treat.
I like watch it, and I'm like, I think in terms of like my like performing and comedy stuff, like if I got interviewed after something,
Yeah, there you
like
go.
would I go Bill Belichick, or would I be like, just it's so tempting. It's so
Yep,
tempting.
I know. Yeah, absolutely.
All
And
right, well,
then
so we kicked off some wide receivers here. I grabbed Mike Williams, and then Jerry Judy goes. So,
yes.
I don't know.
Oh,
I
there you
kind of
go.
I think this was
Yeah,
probably the good
you might have
call.
started a depth piece. Speaking
Yeah.
of wideouts, who that's a little transition here. Who are for sleepers for
Hmm.
wide receivers and running backs? Do you have
Sure.
for traditional side real
Yeah.
quick? We'll do all fantasy 22 too, but traditional leagues, what do you got for sleepers?
Okay, yeah, let me I'm gonna stop sharing so I can pull up
I
my
got you.
other list.
While you are pulling that up, I'll just give you a couple of mine. I'll give you he's a top tier guy, but I still think he's a sleeper in Allen Robinson.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously he's still going to go in the top. It's not a full on sleeper because we've all heard of him, but I just think he's a sleeper in that he's been on a new team in LA. Somebody else has to catch that ball besides Cooper Cup.
Big
So
facts, man. Yeah.
yeah, they're going
And
to
they
do
don't
that.
really have a running back, so yeah.
No, it's Henderson and Akers. If you like them both, you got to get them both because if you just take one, you're going to be living on a prayer. Um, and then I like Naheem Hines out of the Colts for a running back. I think
Yeah,
he's going to catch 75 balls.
you
And
do.
Jonathan Taylor at any point can go down. And now the team that had the number one producing running back, his backup's right there with that
Yeah.
offensive line and all of that. Wideout, Kadarius Toney from the Giants. My problem is that he's a head case, but when he's on the field, that guy is very tough to cover. So it's just the problem is
Yeah.
getting him on there between his bad hamstrings, his COVID, and his mouth. Um,
Wait, give me 1 second. All right, yeah. I do have thoughts on I'm big on Tony's ability,
yeah,
big playability. He's got a really high ceiling. So he's like to me the
yeah,
definition of a sleeper.
yep.
Where you're
And
like, this
then
dude has no floor.
right, and then my
Yeah.
number one sleeper would be Trevor Lawrence. Like I had said to you before, I
Oh,
really think that Lawrence is gonna do it this year at the quarterback position.
a
I
quarterback
think that Doug,
sleeper.
yep, I think Doug Peterson is gonna put him in the right spots at all times. I think Kirk was a
Hmm.
good addition. Isabella was a good addition. DJ Shark will be back. They have good running backs. They picked up a couple of linemen that are solid. And then also too, I think just the absolute breath of fresh air that is gonna be Urban Meyer away from him is gonna
Yeah.
just do wonders. I
Yeah.
just the level of suck that Urban Meyer dragged down on him, it being uplifted at an early time in his career. It wasn't like it was more than a year. It was 1 year. The guy can just chalk it up as a bad rookie year and move on.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's my big number one. If you're sitting there at 9 or 10 and you've got your running backs, wideouts, tight ends, however you have it configured on the traditional sense, and Trevor Lawrence is there with a Kirk Cousins, and those are your two quarterbacks, I think you'd be a very happy camper.
I think I would wait even longer for him.
Fair enough.
I would wait and wait and wait because I think you can get him 13, 14, and then you can
Yeah,
load up on, on
everything
everything.
you want. Yep.
Because with Trevor Lawrence, like it's such a deep sleeper. He has a
Yep.
rushing upside.
Yep.
I
That
love
too.
pairing him with someone like Cousins, who I think you might have to grab a little bit. Well, it depends on how the
Right.
board is falling, but like his floor is so high for Cousins, and then
Yes.
you have Lawrence. I think it's interesting that same guy that I was low key arguing with about look, it was amicable about
Of course.
the Lamar Jackson
Yep.
choice in a scoring system like All-22. Also took Trevor Lawrence, who scored really low, but he made some of the same points of like, think about how much better he potentially could get.
Yeah.
Just it's infinite. He could get
Yes.
infinitely
It's
better.
100%. It could be exactly what you thought it was, which was a
Yeah.
blonde, long hair John Elway that could run, is what you thought it could be. And
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
and that yeah, you all thought that he could be a franchise turnaround guy. So why does that change after 1 year with a terrible coach? Because
Yep.
with and I think it's a more of I'm not the biggest Doug Peterson guy in the world, but let's not discredit a Super Bowl and the fact that he made Nick Foles look good on multiple occasions.
Hey,
So you
can't
know what?
discredit
And no
that.
one
Yeah.
else has outside of Chip Kelly. So the guy clearly runs some kind of system that works for people of
Yeah.
that, you know, line. And then I think that Lawrence fits that bill.
So
They're gonna run a ton of RPO and that kind of stuff, and that's what he wants.
so are you drafting? Where are you taking his wide receivers? Are you drafting any of them?
Let me actually pull them up in my
Because we
magazine.
got we got Christian Kirk. I was saying Kirk Cousins.
Yep,
Christian Kirk, Laviska, whatever.
Chenault.
Which he's the deepest sleeper that I
Yeah,
sometimes
that's yep.
grab because I think they're gonna
You
trade him.
know, who I like there is Evan Ingram. That's another sleeper. And
Oh
that,
man.
it's another one. It's let me tell
Oh
you,
man.
let me just I'll say this about Evan Ingram if I can find his stat line really quick
Oh
that he
man,
put up
that's
for me.
deep.
He put up it was Evan Ingram most valuable, no wide receiver, any of those 5 teams finished with top 20 numbers, PPR scoring. Um yep. Ingram's coming off a couple of down seasons with the Giants, but he finished top 7 per game numbers at his position each of his first 3 seasons. He averages 4.5 catches, 52 yards, and 12 touchdowns. He's a solid top 10 tight end. And again, if you're not going to go get Kelsey or Waller or Kittle,
Or
he's
or
or Hockensock
Pitts, Kyle
or
Pitts.
Pitts, any of
Yeah.
those, if you're not going to get in that top 5 group, or Andrew, sorry, if you're not going to get in that top 6, he falls right into that second tier group that you're going to look at 12 to 14.
Yeah.
And he could easily be 10 touchdowns if healthy with Lawrence. Because again, look at Ertz and Goddard with Peterson. He likes tight ends. He likes using tight ends. He likes athletic tight ends in the red zone, hard play action stuff.
Making
Again,
a good point
RPOs
here.
with that tight end. It's Jacksonville offensively is intriguing. I know that they improved. They were better defensively last year, but I think they take a step back defensively because Peterson's not a defensive guy. They lost pieces.
Yeah.
But offensively, I think they're there already, or they're gonna break out.
Jacksonville.
Yep, I
Got it.
really
Yeah.
do. And we were just looking at him, Brandon Sheriff from the Commanders coming over there at guard. That was the other free agent
Yeah.
addition they got. They picked up a guard and a tackle that are both very good.
Who I do hope falls back to me.
Yes, I do too.
It looks like he probably will.
So, and then the other, I guess, for Jacksonville on the sleeper side would be Shark. I liked him last year, and he blew his leg out. I don't even if he is still wet. I think he's still
No,
wet.
he's on the lines.
Okay, never mind then. But
Yeah.
we'll still sleeper for DJ Shark, their world, because you can get him for
DJ
nothing.
Shark, I love it.
Yep.
Yeah, and then ETN, people I've seen taking him in best ball in early second even, and
That's not another. Yep, if you're a believer, for me, he's like a rookie because he didn't play last year. So
mhm.
I'm not gonna probably look his way because again, even though it's year 2, it's technically rookie.
And he's also a rookie coming off of a pretty bad injury. So
Yeah,
I think people are overdrafting him. I'll take him in the fourth or fifth though. Why not?
100%.
Because he
Yeah, if
could
you're
be as
telling
good
me
at he could
ETN,
be a Leonard Fournette. Like he
yep,
really could. He could be a dynamic pass catching back.
yeah,
Oh,
I
nice. This was
say,
empty. Sick.
yeah.
Um,
If ETN's my flex or third running back, I'm a happy camper.
oh yeah, dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't think he
Third
falls
running
to you
back.
enough. Right.
Yeah,
But
no,
I
probably
agree.
not.
He doesn't fall, but you don't reach.
I'm taking
Um,
uh I'm taking Javante all day. So I think I would consider Pollard one of my sleepers.
Yep.
Because I am treating him like,
He doesn't start. He technically doesn't start. And there is word out of
yeah.
Cowboys camp. The plan is to get back to the feed Zeke routine. They want the 20, I
But
will
we're
say
saying
again,
poke Pollard,
right,
let's
yeah,
let's
yeah.
make it happen. Poke Pollard 2022, you guys. We've been saying stupid idiots. Poke Pollard already.
Absolutely, you
Yeah.
dumbos. I'm with you, but if and then as much as again as I'm not a big Zeke guy, there's a stat out there. I think when he touched the ball more than 20 times last year, their record was significantly better than when he doesn't.
Because if
So
you seen him, have you seen
right,
him
yeah,
play?
right. Have you taken a look at the? Yeah,
Mike
have you seen
McCarthy's
the?
going, you want me to hype Zeke up to the media while we have Pollard sitting right there?
Yeah.
Really?
So Pollard is that mix between sleeper and proven. Yeah. Any other sleepers you got?
Yeah, I'm taking Ayuk if I can way late. I
There.
just
Yeah.
why wouldn't I? He's
Yep.
got Kittle, Debo, and then he's got a field stretcher. I'm talking way late though.
Yeah.
I'm
Right.
talking,
Because
yeah.
the trouble with Ayuk that I noticed is he had that good stretch his rookie year, but that was
Mhm.
when Debo was out. So he would go in the spot where Debo is. Whereas then, so if Debo's playing, he doesn't get the Debo touches. So then, you know what I mean? I find that
Yeah.
Ayuk and Debo are very similar players. That they are, you got to get me the ball in space. I'm big and strong and fast, and I need to, either slants, curls, or jet sweeps. Just get me the ball and let me run with it, in this San Francisco scheme. But if you're the second guy, you don't really get as much opportunity to be creative as the one does. But you're right on the sleeper part
He's
because if Debo goes down,
and
he's instantly a
not just
one.
injury. I
Right.
think I think Ayuk has touchdown upside, and here's why.
Yeah,
Because establish the run, establish the run, establish the run. We have Kittle, who's a field stretcher, and then we have Ayuk. They're going to put their resources on Kittle. Why wouldn't they? He's a freaking
absolutely.
beast. So
And
all the
Debo,
resources
right.
go to Kittle. You also have Debo out there who's going to be in that screen, short game range, who can create plays, and then who gets the
Yeah,
bottom of the barrel DB? Oh, it's
right.
Ayuk, who's fast.
Yeah.
He can make things happen.
Yep.
So
Coming
for
into
me,
year
it's his
3.
touchdown upside. Like you're stacking the box against San Francisco. Then your two things you're worried about are Debo and Kittle, and then there's Ayuk,
Yeah.
right? Oh no, not to overlook the fact that Trey Lance is also going to have legs.
Yeah.
So
Right. The
he's
ability to
the
run. Right.
forgotten asset basically,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
that's why it is a deep sleeper for me. Like
Yeah.
and
No.
in a way where Kendrick Bourne kind of is for me,
Mm-hmm.
because Kendrick Bourne's actually the opposite, where he is that high floor, pretty low ceiling. Like
Yeah.
if I'm gonna take uh if I'm gonna take a bunch of if I'm gonna take a Kadarius Toney, it's like, well, I might as well take a Kendrick Bourne to balance him out
Yeah.
because
So then amongst the Patriot pass catchers, because I agree with you, I think Harris is definitely an RB1, low end RB1, RB2, and I think you should definitely try and get Stevenson
get Stevenson. Yeah.
in behind him. But
I don't
outside
think
of
you should handcuff them. Don't handcuff. I
no,
don't think you
you
should.
don't. Okay,
No,
there you go.
because what that's just
You're
limiting
right.
their
You have to
ceiling.
start one or the other,
Yeah.
and that's definitely not a scenario where you're going to have to start both. I agree. You either take your shot if you
Yeah.
believe in Harris and he's going to play and be healthy. He's an RB2 and he should be your second running back. And
Yep.
I loved it. I loved every minute. I knew Damian Harris was going to start for my team, and I was getting 10 to 16. There was no other thought about it. He
Yep.
was going to get me his yards, and then if the touchdown came, it was a little bit more.
Yep.
He,
And he
yep,
got so many touchdowns.
yeah,
Holy shit.
yep. And so that's a
So he
very,
has
So,
natural touchdown regression there. Like I mean,
right,
like he's not gonna be what he was last year. But you know
right.
who else isn't gonna be what he was because he's gonna take his touchdowns is Jacoby Myers. So
Yeah,
Harris got all the touchdowns last year. Jacoby Myers,
yeah,
literally, they had to manufacture the shit out of it, like they were making
yeah.
cereal. And
Yeah.
then so they get him one touchdown. Like it was pretty much the stupidest thing in the world,
Yeah,
but it
it was
happened.
a Make-A-Wish
It
Foundation thing.
was
I remember
literally,
how much we did a whole, yeah, it was I was
it
waiting for
was
John Cena to
UNICEF.
show up and hug him at one point. Like he was a
I
sick child in a hospital bed.
it was like they shut the game down for a minute.
Yeah.
They were like, fucking finally. So I
Yeah,
think
the
Harris,
Patriot reenactment people coming over with their guns to hug him and just
yeah, their fucking guns at a sporting event, which it's like, okay, too soon, you guys.
yeah, put him
Or too
away.
late or
Put
whatever.
your muskets away.
So I think
Yeah, which
I
pass
have
catcher do
Harris
you like?
just slightly above Stevenson, only because
Gotcha.
Harris is due for a touchdown regression. And then
Yep.
I do have Jacoby as
The number one New England.
no, because I
Yeah.
don't know what Devontae Parker's gonna be. So I'm
Right.
I'm not really
Or
take
Aguilar.
oh God, I can't
Had it
draft
had it a
Aguilar
good camp
again.
so far.
I
You
can't
yeah,
do it.
having a good. I know you can't, but
That's
boy,
like
oh boy,
if I'm gonna
if
draft
it's
Aguilar, I might as well draft Braxton Berrios. Like that's to
yeah, I know
uh,
it's
uh,
so that yeah,
okay.
we're and then Henry falls basically in that Evan Ingram pool of that second tier tight end group. That
I put Henry with Dawson Knox, touchdown
yeah,
upside.
I'll give yep touchdown upside. Yep.
And I
Um,
put Henry. You know who? Ugh, my deepest sleeper for tight end, and I hate that this
don't
is
say
true. Austin Hooper. I freaking
Oh,
hate the
okay,
guy,
yeah.
but they got nothing over there.
I thought you were going
It's.
John Smith on me. I was like, don't say
Oh
John Smith.
God, no!
Okay,
Don't
no,
draft John
I'm
Smith,
with
you
you. Yeah,
guys.
somebody has to catch the ball at tight end, and that yeah, I'm with you. Austin Hooper. Yeah,
Well, they didn't
Tennessee,
throw to
right?
Firkser last year, so I don't know. It could just
Right.
be they don't scheme tight end in, but
I know.
they just don't have wide receivers. They have Robert Woods, they have Nick Westbrook, Akine. They got the new guy who they take.
Yeah, it's all. It doesn't make sense because Vrabel seems like the kind of guy that would throw to the tight end 300 times a game. Like he seems
He
like
really
a
does.
tight end coach. Like a former linebacker that knows
Yeah,
the value of a good tight end.
I
Like,
know. That's a
and
good
just I'm
point.
with you that like why did John Smith flash but never make it there? And like, yeah,
I
like
think
you
it's a
like
Johnu problem. I
well, yeah,
do.
now it is because now that
Yeah,
with being in New England, it's clearly a John problem. But it just made you wonder. And then, you know what I mean? Like I'm with you. They had like
yeah.
Sal Fasano in the beginning years at Tennessee with Fabril, and it was like, why can't you get a functioning tight end there to get 10 touchdowns and 800 yards? Like I'm with you,
Yeah.
Hooper. I don't. I took him one year and I was screaming his name to the high heavens. And it was that year that he had that one game where he had that 90-yard touchdown and then I don't
Yes.
think did another thing for Atlanta.
Nope.
So yeah, I was screaming his praises. I was like, he's it. He was Luck's buddy. Now he's going to be Ryan's, and he hasn't
Yeah.
been it. But I'm with you that this would be a spot. The other one is for tight end Njoku. I think David Njoku can be, especially he's got upside in the sense that if it's Brissett or Watson, it being a tight end is usually that safety blanket.
I'm waiting for Kareem Hunt to get traded before
Fair enough.
I'm getting excited
Figuring
about Njoku.
anything in Cleveland.
Well, I really like this is so crazy, but I really like Demetric Felton. And I'm insane for that. I'm never gonna draft him. I'm gonna pick him
No,
up on the
no,
waiver
yeah, he's
wire,
one of those
but
you'll watch him all day. He's
yeah.
one of those you click on Cleveland's little ticker and check his stat
Yeah,
line first.
Dearness
Like, oh,
Johnson and Demetric Felton, I think,
there you
are
go.
low key dynasty. They're definitely dynasty assets
Yeah,
if you play
yeah,
dynasty.
100. Yep.
Um,
Amari Cooper, if he's your third wideout or flex, is not a bad thing, but don't count on him in a big game
See, so
because
I'm gonna draft Amari Cooper the same way I'm gonna draft like Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf, where I'm gonna be
yeah,
like, cool, glad I have these like
yep,
middling wide receivers to supplement whatever like high ceiling guys I have. Like,
yeah. Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, I'd definitely Lockett and Cooper there. I'd say a little bit of with DK's athletic ability. I think even if it is a turd or a punch bowl throwing him the ball, that he's still going to collect some numbers because
okay, I
it's
worry
him his
about him.
ability, and it's just I try and have this philosophy with good wide receivers on bad teams is that somebody has to catch the ball.
Mhm.
They have to go down the field in garbage time. That gets you points. Like I look at
That's
like
yeah, Brandon Cooks. That's Brandon
Brandon
Cooks.
Cooks is a
Yeah.
great example. Corey Davis with the Jets for a few years. Will Fuller's done it sometimes in Houston where, you're good. Those teams, like when I think about Seattle, they're going to be down 21. And
Yeah.
even if Drew Lock and Geno Smith suck, they're going to be five wide, throwing the ball, doing the whole Pete Carroll gum chew, and not going to give up every play. I'm not going to give up. Got to play. Pete Carroll, I'm 75 and I'm so much fun.
Dude,
I've
how is
had my
his
third cup of
jaw?
coffee before 6 o'clock. Oh, how does it work? I have no idea.
I
Yeah.
mean, this poor guy.
Yeah.
Like,
It's just, yep.
I don't understand. Yeah, so I'm holding out hope for Geno Smith. If it is Geno Smith for sure, I will draft DK like with a
Yeah.
little bit. I probably
With
will
the,
even
yeah,
draft
being
him
a wide
higher than
receiver
Terry
too.
McLaurin. Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm gonna,
Yep.
but and I think Pittman's gonna be
Yes.
pretty good this
Yep.
year. Yeah.
Yes. I think Pittman is a low end, one high end wide receiver two for sure, especially with now a Matt
Yeah.
Ryan who's going to get on the same page with him. Finally, an adult in the room. He will
I
do.
mean, what is Carson Wentz? What is he? I
He,
watched the whole Hard
I,
Knocks,
yeah.
watched the Hard Knocks. I still can't figure him out.
No, I think he's. I mean, I really think he's just like a younger version of Kirk Cousins with
Huh.
just not as much. Like, for some reason, both of those guys, it's so weird that people like they seem like the nicest people on camera, interviews and whatever's. But then there's always people are like, I hate Kirk Cousins or I hate Carson Wentz. That are former teammates of theirs.
Yeah.
Like just trashing both those. So it's like, what are they? Just like these awful people off camera? Like, are they, like that's,
Yeah,
I'm
like
with you. I don't understand.
they're definitely cringe to an
Right. Like,
extent, but
yeah,
but
that
there's something
shouldn't.
else.
Right.
Yeah.
It's right. Because it's like, I don't know. I get that Indy collapsed last year and that they should have beat Jacksonville and made the playoffs. But it went from a collapse to him getting released and teammates being like, yeah, he wasn't a leader. He was crap. And it was like, well, what? Like, you guys were one win away from going to the playoffs.
He was the reason they didn't win that game. I
Right.
mean,
And it's, yeah, he's bad. And so I
yeah.
guess he's just, it's him and Cousins are bad when the lights are on. And that's the problem for
Yeah.
both of them. So in a fantasy world, they're both great QB2s because they can get plugged in at the right spots against the right teams, but don't rely on them because, when the bright light, Kirk Cousins is going to be 5-1 going into a Sunday night game and he's going to throw up 3 ducks and they're going to suck. And then,
Dude. Dude, yeah. Yeah.
So I guess actually though, piggybacking off of sleepers, how early for the traditional side are you thinking QB or tight end? Like, are you, like,
I talked you through my strategy. You are in my home league though, so
that's true. So I know I'm trying to get.
I'm telling you this. I'm telling you this in confidence. It's fine if you want to
Yeah.
snipe me though. That's what I like talking football enough to get sniped.
Agreed.
Okay, so it really depends.
100%.
If I'm late first, if I'm picking late first, which I don't know how we're doing our draft since I came in second. I don't know if that means I pick second or I would pick 11th.
I'd imagine it's gonna go random again, but we'll see.
So I was at the turn last year. I was last, which was fine. But if if Travis Kelce is sitting there at the back of the first round, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore. I'm taking my tight end right then and there.
Yeah,
I'm not taking
that's
him
the right decision.
because that's the right decision. Exactly.
100%.
I'm not taking a quarterback until the 8th or 9th round. That's just how I am. Why would I? I got Jalen Hurts last year. The only reason I even took him in the 8th round in our home league was because people started taking their second quarterbacks, and I was like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Someone's got to go.
Yeah. So
that's why I went Tom Brady where I did because it was the same thing. People started taking 2s, and I was gonna lose Tom, and so
yeah. So I have to keep that in mind with home leagues, and I do think that's something that fantasy analysts don't think about is that in home leagues, people are taking 2 QBs if in a 1 QB league. Like they just are. So you have to pick your quarter. You can't wait until the 9th round sometimes. You have to kind of 4th or 5th is when you really need to start thinking about it. But if I can wait until 7th or 8th, I obviously am targeting anyone with a rushing ceiling. So I don't give a fuck. I'll take Justin Fields again. I did it last year. I'll do it again.
Right. And if it works, it works. Absolutely. No, I'm pretty much of the same sentiment. And it's also Kelce or bust for me at tight end if I'm going that early. Yeah, I don't. Well, I mean that I'm not gonna go if again you're saying that position is there even if I'm at 11 or 12. I'm not gonna take Waller, and I don't think I'm gonna take Kittle. If now again you tell me at between the 4th and 6th rounds, Waller and Kittle are there, which I don't think they will be, but if they are, now I'm going to start looking. I got to see it, and I also don't trust Mariota. That my problem isn't as much Pitts as it is everything else in Atlanta. It's a new coach, it's a new quarterback, it looks like it's just going to be bad. I don't know why I get this vibe. I
It's
don't know
gonna be
what
bad.
caused me to get this vibe, but I just think they're going to suck next year. I don't think they have the line still.
Yeah.
I like Mariota-ish, but he's what, the 25th best quarterback, if that. Like, it's not. So it's not as much and again, I know I'm kind of sounding hypocritical as my thing before of saying somebody has to catch the ball on bad teams. So I'm not
Yeah.
saying you don't draft Pitts, but I put him actually in that similar category of those other two. Tight end is valuable. It's just you got to hit it. And if you don't get
Yeah.
the guy that's consistently there, then boy, you do yourself a disservice of missing out on a top tier wideout or running back right there between the rounds 4 and 6.
Yep. Yep. And this is kind of why having a waiver cap really drives me nuts, is because if I can't get one of the top guys, I'm just gonna stream my tight end. So I
Yeah.
don't care. It's the same way I
Yeah,
do
and
with
that's why
defenses.
I wanted the tick up too, because I want to stream defense. I like to stream defense,
Yeah, I
and
think you
so
should stream defense. It
and
makes
yeah,
it
you
way
should.
more fun,
Yeah,
and keeping one defense all year is just like cool. Like it's
yeah, it
well, I
is. It
also play
gets
IDP, so I don't really like team defense as much, but
there.
like
You go.
but yeah, so quarterback, I'm not gonna reach for Allen. If he for
Yeah,
some reason is sitting there and like I'm in the third round and he's there, it's like I
it's gonna be so
mean
tempting. It's gonna be. Yep,
I mean at that point you probably
yep.
have RB1, wide
Yeah.
receiver one.
If I'm
Yeah.
staring at Justin Herbert in the 7th, I'm gonna lose
Oh
my
my
mind
God, he's not
because
gonna be there in the
I
seventh.
know he's not, but you know what I mean. Just something of that ridiculousness of. But yeah, you got to remember the depth because Russell Wilson's gonna be there late.
Dak will be there
Tom
late
Brady's going to be there late. I think Aaron Rodgers, for some reason, maybe not in our home league, but in other leagues, is going to fall
because he doesn't have
because of the
weapons.
lack of weapons. Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no one's taking him.
No
Yeah.
one's right because no one wants. Yeah. And then the obvious sleeper from the segment before was Alan Lazard, but I don't believe in him. Or just again, if it's at the value spot, go for it, but do not sell the farm for Alan Lazard. I know someone has to catch the ball. If you were
Yeah.
going to gamble on somebody in Green Bay to be catching the ball, I would say it's Robert Tanya. If I had to,
When's
the
he
tight
coming
end,
back?
I thought it was sooner than later, but maybe it's not. And that's
Let me
why
just
I have my beliefs in him.
Robert Tonyan return. Consulting the crystal ball, PackersNews.com. Consulting the crystal ball, Tonyan will start the season on the physically unable to perform list,
All
meaning he
right.
won't be available for the first. It says 6 games, but I'm
Of
pretty
6.
sure they lowered. No, this is 2019, so this is not. We don't want this 2019. I'm like, it's definitely 4 games now. He's expected to be
Yes.
back from ACL injury by. Oh, this is from March. Come on, guys, give me something.
Packers beat
Give
writers
me
taking the day
something. Here
off.
we go. July 28th. Uh, Currently at training camp, but it's on the pup. He's eligible to return from the list at any point during camp. He's optimistic that he can return in time for week 1. There we go.
Okay.
Last
So then, yeah.
season.
So even if you lose Tanya for 1 week, it sounds like he's optimistic he's not going to get put on that pup list and be out the first 4.
Yeah.
So even if I'm gambling on a Packers person catching the ball, for me it'd be Tanya, because even without the preseason work, I think that he's just somebody's got to catch it there. So, and Sammy Watkins will do the week 1 wonder and then fall off and be everyone's favorite wide receiver waiver wire claim for only then to just die a peaceful death like he always.
It's written. It's actually
Yeah.
written in the laws of the land
I'm
that
very
has to
excited for
happen.
his week 1 130 and 3 scores, and for all of us to go, oh, watch out for Sammy. He's got it because he's
Yeah.
with Rodgers now, and he's put it all together, and he's had
Yeah.
the offseason and la 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 la, and then he won't have a single catch next week, and yeah, he'll just slowly deteriorate into nothingness, like as
Yeah.
if Thanos snapped after the first game.
Who's the other? So MVS is gone, right? He's on the Chiefs.
Yes.
Okay, so then it's Romeo Dobbs. That was my other sleeper that I mentioned
There
during
you
our
go.
little break
Yep.
that I forgot to say. So and I don't know if I'm not gonna draft him, but I'm gonna
No.
pick him up in week 2.
Yeah, it's a waiver wire guy. Yeah.
What do you-
Anything out of
yeah.
Green Bay is a waiver wire claim. And then obviously Rodgers again, I think falls because of no weapons.
Man.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. And then I gotta, delve more into the schedule, but here's the other one. So you had mentioned the not handcuffing Harris with Stevenson. What ones are you looking at for handcuffs?
Okay, I think Hines
Yep.
is a little bit different but
There's upside there
yeah,
with
and
the handcuff.
yes, exactly, because he can also catch passes, but at the same time, if Taylor goes down, it's like, well, if Taylor
Yep.
goes down, I think they redo the game plan, and then you really want to have Pittman on your team.
100%.
Um,
Christ, you may
I'm
want
not,
Mo Alley Cox at that point.
yeah, yeah, you can have anybody. I'm also not handcuffing Dylan and Jones. I think similar thing.
Yep.
So I'm not handcuffed. I'm just trying to think of like the other.
Yeah.
So let me think of
I'm
my,
also a believer in just getting AJ Dillon down the
yes.
road, even if you don't have Aaron Jones.
So that's the same way I feel about Zeke and Pollard. So Zeke
Yeah.
Pollard, Harrison Stevenson, and uh Dylan and Jones. I think those are all running backs I will not
Non-handicaps.
handcuff
Non-handcuffs. Yep.
because it limits your upside. So then who
Mhm.
will I hand? Who am I taking?
I think whoever's behind McCaffrey, you gotta, even
See,
if
and
it's
that's the
Hubbard
question
or
is
the
who
other
the
one. I
hell is
know
it?
it's right. So you hope that Camp clears that up.
Because it
But
could
if you,
be
it could be
uh
Hubbard or the other kid there who's coming
the
up. I can't.
Donta Foreman.
Right. So yeah, there's two people there, but I just think that McCaffrey is so good
Yeah.
upside and then also so prone you have to cuff him. Uh,
Who are you handcuffing? I have such a hard time drafting the handcuff. Madison, sure. Sure.
right. So
Let's
yeah,
say
I think
Madison.
it's you really got to look at it's the high end guys you got to look at. It's I would say it's McCaffrey,
Hmm.
it's Cook, it's Taylor with Hines, those three,
Yeah.
and then also I think Chubb. I know it Hunt's obviously a question mark, but even if it's whatever it is behind Chubb, that offensive line, and now if it's going to be Brissett, you got to get Chubb's back up. Those four, and then that's probably after that is where it starts getting iffy, and what your opinions are of,
Yeah. Because who are you
you know,
taking for Harris? Snell?
see, I don't. That's not that juice
Mixon
isn't worth.
is
Right.
Samaje or Chris Evans.
Right. Those aren't, it's not as much of the worry about those number one guys getting hurt or being ineffective as it is. I don't think the juice is worth the squeeze on the ones below. Because that is
Yep.
also the trade off of it. Is
Yeah.
like if a Najee Harris goes down, then go find another running back on another team. Because Snell's not going to come in there and be Najee Harris. He may help
Yeah.
them, Pittsburgh, win games, but fantasy world, he's not, you know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
when I look at McCaffrey going down, I can see Hubbard coming in fantasy wise. And is it exactly the same? No, but it goes from 20 to 16 points a game. And to me as a fantasy owner, I'm okay with that handicap or
Yeah.
handcuff, excuse me.
Yeah.
And then same with Madison, same with a Hines. Whereas I don't think the juice is like a Derrick Henry's the best example. Couldn't even name you his backup. That's how much it wouldn't even be. They normally get a guy off the street when he goes down. That's how much
Yeah.
it does.
There's Donta
And like you
Foreman.
said,
Who is it?
if we're talking about
Hilliard?
changing game plans, that's another one. We're going to change our game plan instantly if Derrick Henry goes down. It's not going to be the same.
Yeah. Oh, geez. Who is Henry's? Because I'm not drafting him.
Right. Oh, really? No, you're not on Henry?
Oh, I'm not drafting whoever Henry's backup
Right.
is.
Yep. That's definitely not a handcuff.
I will take in full or half PPR. Like I have Henry still ranked above Nick Chubb. I'll put it like
Yeah.
that. But I'm gonna target Jefferson a lot this year in the first round.
There you
And I
go.
think that this is a little bit of a different year for like the wide receivers at the top are kind of thin. And I think there's
Yes.
actually like a lot of running backs that you can get in the back of the first and early second. So
Yeah, I think that you have a distinct top three in both running back and wideout that you can debate where they all fall. And then everything else below that top three for both categories is kind of a crapshoot and kind of, I wouldn't say a crapshoot, but just is a ton of talent. In
Cooper,
a,
Jefferson, Chase,
yep.
and
And then the
then
Taylor, Chubb, and Henry. Probably.
oh, you're not
Yeah,
doing Taylor, McCaffrey,
you're right. I'm sorry. Taylor,
Cook,
McCaffrey, Henry. I'd have
Henry.
Henry. Yeah, because Henry's going to lead the league in rushing. Like if he's playing 17, he will rush for more than anyone else.
I know, but he doesn't
It's
really catch passes.
I know.
And
So
and
fair enough. So
Cook
I guess maybe it
does.
would be Cooks then.
I don't know. It just depends. Yeah,
Yeah. So I
it's
guess
so
running back
hard.
may be a little bit more of I guess you could call, but definitely with wide receiver, it's those three, and then everything else
Yep.
below it. What's your opinion on the guy? Do you think he's the guy or
Yeah.
not?
Where are you taking Devontae Adams, basically, is the next question. It's
Yeah.
like, and then where are you taking Tyreek Hill? It's like those are phenomenal guys in new spots. You have to just kind of make a decision because you think about what happened with Julio Jones last year, and you're like, well, I don't want to do that, make that mistake again,
Yep.
you know?
Absolutely. Um. So yeah, that's also though goes into my other questions that you kind of answered it, but you can reiterate. So running back after Taylor for you would be Chubb. Like
No.
if you now who if so let's hypothetically say I'm wrong. I keep putting Chubb in your mouth even though you're not saying Chubb. So who would be your two if you were to be two and someone takes Taylor on you?
Someone takes Taylor, I'm taking McCaffrey. Someone takes
Yeah.
McCaffrey and Jefferson and Cup are already gone. Taylor obviously would be gone at that point. I'm looking at I'm looking at Austin Eckler.
There you
I'm
go.
looking at Aaron Jones.
Yep.
I'm honestly, I know that seems like a reach that early, but Aaron Jones, who is their other weapon? I'm sorry,
That's
it's
that's a
Dylan. And
right.
Aaron Jones is going to do what I think Pollard is going to do on the Cowboys, which is
Yeah.
catch
Or
passes
look to
and
right.
run the
Or what
ball.
yeah. What did
Yeah,
Kamara do during those Mark Ingram and Alvin Kamara days? That's gonna be what
exactly. So
and
that's
that's
Dylan and Jones, and that's Zeke and Pollard. So I'm
yeah.
taking Jones. I think I have Barkley higher than most people, but I'm not going to reach on him.
I
But I'm
same.
going to look at him.
If if I can get Saquon Barkley in the second round, I'm gonna be the happiest man alive. I think
100%.
that could be possible. He's got such a high ceiling and a crappy floor because of his injury history and the fact that the guy likes to go balls to the wall every time he touches the ball.
I
It's kind of it's a
know.
good thing, but a detriment. It's like, dude, just give up on the play and not lose your whole season
I
to a
know.
4 yard gain. But they've been talks in the Giants camp of early on. They were moving him around to everywhere, slot, wide out, and backfield. So he too is going to catch a bunch of balls if he's playing 17 games
Yeah.
on top of the running. Especially if you don't believe in the offensive line and Daniel Jones, he's just going to dump off
Yeah.
to
So
Saquon.
I'm taking Saquon over DeAndre Swift, but I'm taking them earlier than other people.
There you go.
So like
Yeah,
if either of them is sitting there, it's like, oh, I'm just gonna take them because that's who
right.
I want on my team. Like
Yeah,
sometimes I don't play the ADP game that much. Sometimes I'm
I
just
same.
like, that's who
I
I want, so
Yep.
that's what I'm taking. Like,
Especially yeah.
yeah,
I'll definitely be. You definitely play the ADP and all the other stats and stuff for the All-22, but on the traditional end, like I don't draft Joe Mixon because it goes back to his college days when he punched a girl in the face and it's on video. Like it's just a personal belief of mine.
got
It
you.
probably may be a detriment to me because Joe Mixon's really good, but
Yeah.
it's so be it because it's a traditional league. But if I was doing a competitive All-22, believe me, if he's there in a spot where I need him, I take. But
I
I'm with
mean,
you.
it's so funny you say
Yeah,
that because that was me. I was anti CD Lamb last year for like the same, not like he didn't punch anyone, but when he took this, it was so funny. But when he took the phone out of his girlfriend's hand, and that was the first thing
yeah.
he did as a cowboy, and I'm just like, I'm not having another Ezekiel Elliott
There
experience.
you.
That
Yep.
was like, you know what I mean? I was like, oh, another egotistical cowboy
Yeah.
player. I was
I
already
don't.
worried
Right.
about Parsons, and then
Miss me with that.
yeah, or
Yeah.
not Parsons. Well, Parsons I was also worried about. That was
Right.
the following year
I
though.
was worried about his knee and his Achilles more than I was his personality.
He's
Which I still.
freaking.
Oh, he's a
I
freak. I have
love
never seen. Yep.
Parsons. It's
We
so
could if
hard
he
not to
could.
love him.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I would say McCaffrey or Cooks would be the 2 or 3 for me. I also really like Henry in that I'm that traditional believer in 1,800 yards and 15 scores still get you where you needs to go for an RB1, even if he's not going to catch you the ball.
Are you worried about the age in the foot at all?
Definitely. Especially with the removal of. I know you're not a big believer in AJ Brown, but just AJ Brown and Julio both leaving, and him being a year. Yes, I definitely do worry. Um,
That's a good point though. Like I understand why you have him so far up there. It's like he's the
yeah,
only option.
Right. And
you know?
and they weirdly get into games where like, yeah, they're down 21 to like 3, but for some reason they'll be like 3 minutes, like 10 minutes left in the third, and it just seems like an eternity. And they keep handing him the ball and they get back into those games. And
Yeah.
like, it'll be like a first quarter where he's got like 5 carries for like 12 yards. And you're like, well, this sucks. And in the second half, it's like Derrick Henry finishes with 210 and 3 touchdowns. And you're like, what? Like, what happened? And like, it's just weird over there in Tennessee sometimes with him. And
Yeah.
they're right. There's nothing else but him and Tannehill. And Lord knows Tannehill's not it.
Lord knows it.
And
Oh
Vrabel's
man.
just a good coach. They're a good team. They're a good run team. And
Yeah.
so it's just, yeah, I'm high on him. But I think
Yeah.
if you get the number one overall, I really think Taylor's a kind of a no-brainer. I know there's been conversations of other people and other things, but
Yeah.
he's as slam dunk as a slam dunk and getting fantasy that I've seen in quite a couple of years.
Yeah, it's like, what are you gonna
It's
do? Be scared about injury? You can be scared about anyone getting injured.
Yeah,
So
it's everything else lines up with this guy.
yeah.
Age, line, team around him, his ability. He's shown that even with defenses keying in on him, he still gets his. It's just a no-brainer.
Yeah, I'm with
Um,
you.
what else?
Um, and then Chubb, I do like in the sense that I do think that Hunt's gonna get traded, and that I don't. I it if Watson's not there, I actually think that kind of benefits Hunt. It's the same reason
Yeah.
I'm drafting Rashad Penny
Yep.
more than most people. Not, I'm not reaching, but like I am like I'm taking him if he's there. James Conner is another one that I think
Yes.
is people are just I'm taking
See,
James Conner in the second round.
right. A lot of people gave up on James Conner when he did nothing to be given up on.
That last year he was incredible.
Yeah.
It was literally incredible.
Yeah. Now that you say it, let me get his full line here while we're on him. I can pull it
Elijah
here.
Vera Tucker just went. Jesus.
Oh Lord.
You guys okay. I'm
Into
worried about the people in this league. I like genuinely after
it's
like when I was like just staring a decision in the face in the fourth round when I already had two quarterbacks and I'm looking at Dak versus Kyler Murray and I'm like,
why is this a thing right
why
now
am
in
I
this
able to do
format?
this? Yeah.
Did
Why
anyone
did
read
someone
the
already take
scoring?
Mark Andrews? It doesn't matter if he has a 91.5 season grade. He's only going to be able to get you 2% of your points. Like it just
Right. It
doesn't
doesn't
make sense.
doesn't make sense. Yeah. So for Connor, he was 750 yards, but 15 touchdowns. Like there you go. And I don't know. I don't think that changes in the
No.
sense that because now Chase Edmonds is gone, which Chase Edmonds should be on your radar in Miami. Not a draftable
Sure.
guy, but
Yeah.
during the season he'll be on your radar.
He's a
So
sleeper. I'll take
he's
him in like a 12th
yeah,
round. I really will.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really don't trust anything other than Hill and Waddle with Miami, but there's sleepers there at
Yeah.
the running back position because they have a good offensive line. They picked up Armstead from the Saints at left tackle there. They also got Connor Williams from the Cowboys. So
Wow.
Miami has all the pieces. It's just let's see what Tua is. Um, but yeah, I'm with you. I like Connor. I think Connor should be an RB2. Yeah,
Yeah.
if you're somehow in your draft, you're sitting there with an RB1 of Taylor or top 5 guy, and then you could shoot around the second round and get yourself a good wideout, and then the third round's James Conner. You're cooking in the right direction.
You
Absolutely.
really are.
Um,
Yeah, because and then who else? I mean, Javante is the so if I'm choosing between Javante Williams and James Conner, that is like one of my most difficult decisions. Because of Melvin Gordon, who's another
yeah.
one where I see as it's so tough, but I do see that pair as not. I won't draft them both.
Right.
I do
Yeah.
think that that limits upside,
Yeah.
unless I can get a really good value on Melvin Gordon. But the
Right.
thing is, like Cordero Patterson will still be sitting there, and I'm not gonna if I have Javante Williams and I'm choosing between Cordero and Melvin Gordon. I know this sounds stupid, but like I'm taking Patterson because that's how I'm
Oh,
gonna optimize points.
it's every day of the week you take Patterson because Patterson's also, I believe, in the traditional leagues getting the RB wideout tag. It's going to be the double tag on him. So, and that's and I'd have to actually let me double check that on my ESPN app really quick because if if um if Cordell Patterson is getting the tag of RB/wideout, he should be going in your first round.
Okay.
Because you can then stash him as a wideout.
The only reason not to take him in the first round is no one's going to take him in the first round. You don't need to draft him until like the 4th round.
Right. But you can. Okay, never mind. He's just getting. See, this is what I thought. So he's just designated as a running back now. So yes, 100%. Now he's a 4th round running back.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, if they gave him that RB/wideout tag, he becomes way more valuable because you draft him early and you can put him in the wideout slot and then have more running backs. It's like having you know what I mean? It's like having a 4th running back because he does running back stuff while under your wide receiver tag. But since they switched him to just running back, but I agree with you. I take him over Melvin Gordon. He's going to, again, somebody has to produce in Atlanta besides Kyle Pitts. And he, for some reason, continues to succeed at running back, and no one wants to talk about it because he was a former wideout. He did it in New England, and it was good.
I know.
And it made me scratch my head. Obviously, they went and got Harris, and it all worked out, but it was kind of a head scratcher when Patterson walked out of the door in New England. He didn't really do anything other than be productive there.
I know. I think it was just like, oh, we can get another gadget player for cheaper.
Yeah.
All you are is a gadget player to us. Yep. And I'm glad that we eventually were just like, because like, look how good he ended up being. It's crazy.
Yep. I know it is. But yeah, he's definitely on that radar. Actually, let me just throw up a whole rankings on my book here. We can go over some more people.
All right, and then I probably got to drop pretty soon.
Yeah, no, all good. You think 2:30? Couple like 9 more minutes.
Let's do a couple more, and then we'll pick back up. Let me show you how this draft is going, because it's really interesting. This is my first one. I've got a couple more drafts scheduled, and I am like excited to compare them. Yeah. Okay. So just looking at where we ended up.
So I think we were pick.
So I took Kenny, then we had all this happen.
All right, and then me and you grabbed Williams right there. So then Diggs went, Judy. Wow, why do you need JJ Watt there?
I think because of his DI. But let's see. I mean, is he gonna hit? He is gonna hit his snap mins too. This was probably not a bad choice, but it's a little early.
Yeah, that, and he's just trended in the wrong direction each of the last 4 years.
I know, it's crazy because he's still better than like half of the other defensive interiors.
He's a great player. It's just,
but like his age is really why I wouldn't have drafted him there.
No, he screamed he's gonna pull or tear something by week 3 and be all done. I don't want that to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. I never wish bad on a guy, but yeah, this one was I guess like you said, age on that one. But no, even then he's still
28.
Yeah,
they need to just, I really wish it would not auto to showing. Like, is there a way I can mute Deshaun Watson?
I wish.
Like,
I wish somebody in your group would take him so that it could get to normal.
I said that. I went in the Discord. I was like, can someone just draft? I'll pay. I said, I'll Venmo someone $5 to draft him.
Just take the man.
I'm not going to take him. I already have 3 quarterbacks. Trey Hendrickson. Then we got Elijah Vera Tucker and Landon Dickerson. So the 2 guards did go. And I'm thinking that probably means I'm good to grab one of my safeties, and then I'll swing around. I don't think anyone will
grab Sheriff.
I don't think so.
I'm leaning towards that as well.
Let's see how many guards we have. So he took back-to-back guards, so he's not taking another one.
Nope.
So
and then there was a guard just before that, and Connor Williams there. That's 3.
4. There's me, so I'm not gonna count that.
Right.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I love this pick.
I do too.
It's a reach where it went, but such a good pick. 9, right? Shaq Mason 9. 10. Look, round 8. Like, what are y'all doing?
Right. They just saw the name. It's a name thing for him there.
Zach Martin, but still, that's your
Right?
sixth pick.
That's
He can
ridiculous.
only get you 3%.
That's ridiculous. Right. Even if it grades out to what you want, it doesn't mean anything.
And
He
then to
still
win
doesn't
you
score more than your wide receiver 3.
exactly like, well, he will actually. I think.
Okay.
Wait, that's a good point though. So the guard is 3.8, wide receiver three is 1.82. So it will,
Okay.
but
So he does, but
come on.
yeah, that's still very early for when other things could.
So I think that's
So I think
13.
you're safe to go safety guard for sure.
I think so too. And really, if someone, I mean, who, unless both these dudes are sitting here, then I just take Scherf and then I
And
choose
then
whoever's left.
yep, yep.
All right, let's just do that.
Sounds good.
If they're both, no, let's do it like this. They're both sitting there, and then I take Scherf. Okay. All right, and then do you want to wrap with something? Kind of.
Um, uh, wrap with one for funsies. Any kicker that you are?
Oh man, I is who is it besides Tucker? Is it just
I mean, you could go McPherson and
McPherson?
Cincy, but no. The one I like is if I had to take a flyer, I would say is a Carlson in Vegas. I think that dome. I think for some reason the guy figured it out with the Raiders. He was mush everywhere else.
Yeah.
He was mush in Minnesota, and then Gruden brought him over and just kind of yelled at him once, and he's like, "All right, now I won't miss a kick," and that's kind of where it's been. So I
Who was it that got kicked by
oh, it
the
was
circus clown over there?
Myers. I think got kicked. Josh Myers, I believe, got kicked by Urban Meyer. It was a Meyer on Myers crime or something like that. Yeah,
that fucking guy. Oh
yeah.
man.
Oh yeah, Urban Meyer was an absolute treasure of a watch during the whole season. Um,
Oh, Young
yeah, I guess
Hoku.
yeah, that's another good one. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Atlanta because they're also going to stink. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I guess final thoughts would be that I'm really excited for the season. I think it is one of the first years in a long time where you can really make the case for a good couple of teams that can all make a run. There's a lot of parity in this league. There's a lot of talent in this league, and I'm
Yeah.
really pumped for it.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh man. And I'm excited about the all-22 stuff. I know,
Yeah,
people have
yeah,
mixed
this
feelings
is
about PFF and
I
how
love
they
it. It's a
grade.
whole new world. Yeah, the grading part is very debatable
Yeah.
because there's a level of opinion there, but at the same time, there's still some concrete data there that no one can object to, and it's such a cool way of essentially getting to play NFL GM in the
I'm like
fantasy world.
I'm learning about centers and guards. Like,
Yeah, and that's
we're
what the
not
league's looking
drafting
for.
tackles. Like,
Uh,
yeah. Yeah.
100%.
So
So,
it's pretty
all right.
cool.
Absolutely. So yeah, text me when you want to do this again. I'll let you know
Yeah.
schedule and heck yeah, we'll let maybe this weekend of games go by and digest that preseason week 1 and set
Yeah.
something up
Okay.
for that.
Same time next week, I think. We'll do Tuesday afternoon or something if you're
Sounds
around.
good. Yeah, until I start work
Uh,
Tuesday afternoon works for me.
all right, let's say bye to the people first. Thanks for
Bye,
listening.
bye
You
everybody. Thank
stupid
you so much for
idiots. And
listening. Yeah, you bunch of idiots.